There we go. Check. That's a waveform on there.
Nice. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That one's going.
Jesus, my arm looks right under this light.
Yeah, it does. When I walked in, that's why I said, I was like, that looks like it's brand new.
Well, I peeled the tape off this morning. It was like done on Monday, and I peeled the tape
Crazy.
this morning.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if it's just because it was rubbing against, like, because I had a stupid tight shirt on.
Yeah.
Today.
Might have pissed it off a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Maybe I should have left it the one more time.
Yeah, that's fine. It's so funny. Every piece you get, I guess every artist you go to, it's so different on their healing time and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Some
And
of
their
them are like
process.
the night of.
Yeah.
Some of them are 3 days. Some of them are 24 hours. It just really depends, right?
Some of them say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're just like, no, man, it's a
Really?
wound. Let it breathe. Just keep it clean, right?
Yeah.
No kidding.
That's weird though. Like that's pretty terrible. Like you know, like
Pretty
this little
scary.
guy, like
Yeah.
whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
just keep an eye on it.
yeah, no, this guy definitely wouldn't have wanted to just let her buck right off the bat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
hooked though. You know how it
Oh,
feels to
dude,
get
yeah.
your first
Oh,
tattoo.
dude. Is this your first?
These
They broke skin, bro. that
like
was
the,
it.
the
Oh,
stencil
man.
for this and this was the first time like
Good for
like
you.
3-4 weeks ago. I
That's
think.
wicked.
he was still asking questions about how like the paint, the purple ink goes on, and like
Yeah.
how the
Or how
stencil stays and shit.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
dude.
man.
Yeah.
It
No,
looks
like,
wicked.
I mean, like my little brother is like hardcore,
Head to toe.
hardcore,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know if you know who he is or not, but
Maybe? What's
that
his
Remy
name?
guy. I've shared his shit before. I was on his podcast.
Oh,
once,
okay.
and Kevin
Yeah.
was on it.
it's my little brother Jeremy, but he
Ah.
goes by ephemeral Remy on
Oh, okay.
online. Yeah, he's like black,
He's on his third bodysuit.
third bodysuit
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
because he
Oh, yes.
But they're like
Yes.
forerunners, man. Like they're doing stuff that most like if like in tattoo school or whatever they tell you doesn't work, and they're like just doing it and it's beautiful.
well all that like because once it's blacked out like
It
it's
fills
my
the-
understanding that people weren't you didn't think you could do a lot with it. You
Yeah.
could do a bit, but like
Other shades of black, maybe
Yeah.
grays,
well, what they're doing is they're doing all those other shades of black. They're doing
Whites.
whites, reds,
Purples now.
Right.
purples, it's all that like it almost looks like when I see it, it almost looks like some of the guitar straps that are at the shop, the like leather paisley work
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It
Yeah.
almost looks like an engraved leather. Like on his
That's
fucking
crazy.
skin now, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's wild that they're doing it. But
He had a shout out TikTok. He had a TikTok come up on mine, and it was before I knew that he was working with Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
going over the process and like the layers that he
Yeah.
had on him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, there's black, but then there's gray, but then this red's actually not red. It's this and this. It's freaking crazy,
That's
man.
wild, man.
It's
Yeah.
nuts.
But like he's got like a million followers on TikTok, and people just ask him all the time, like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this, or this is the situation I'm in. What would you recommend?" And
Oh,
like,
that's
it's
cool.
So dope, man.
Yeah, I think it's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been in the
Sailing's
what's the
in his
word?
blood, as it were.
I was gonna say I've been around this sort of thing for a
Yeah.
while, but this is like the first time
Yeah.
that
No piercings.
I mean like when I was like 12, I think I had my ear pierced.
Nice.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
it, right? You know when you're a kid, you got the got the
Yeah.
little hoop,
And all the
in
other
there.
kids are like, "Wow, fuck, that guy's cool."
Yeah. Oh well, I don't know about that.
See, in my school, it was someone came to school with his hat pierced.
Whoa.
Yeah, we didn't have real piercings,
Oh, wow.
but he had his hat pierced, and everyone
accessory
freaked.
piercing.
Everyone
That's
freaked.
up.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what made you decide to pull the trigger?
I don't know. It was a couple months ago. I sat down and we started talking about it at your place, I think. I was just like, or no, I called Kevin. Or no, we started talking about it, and then I called Kevin one day randomly at the store. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Let's just do it. And it still took like a couple months
Yeah.
before I went in and actually pulled the trigger. But then, I don't know. It's like it was time. It was time to
Yeah,
just do it.
that's
And
awesome, man.
I've wanted something since I was like 18.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, so 20 years on.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done
Yeah.
anything. And I just, kind of let Kevin go with it. Like, I'm such a control freak. Like,
Yeah.
I told him normally, like, I would be so, like, involved in the process that I would never actually start it,
Mhm.
you know, trying to
Yeah.
make it perfect.
You should draw yourself
Right.
a tattoo one day.
Well, I did that way back when I was young, and that was
Yeah.
part of the problem is that like I would critique it so much, and then I'd want to like redo this or redo that, and then change the whole thing, and it just got to where nothing.
Have you
Yeah.
ever actually hung out with Kevin and got him to teach you how to draw?
Like tattoo style?
No. Like just to draw. Because
Like-
Kevin just draws.
Oh, dude,
He just,
Sketching,
he
yeah.
just learned how to sketch in the last 2 years.
guy. When I was like, when I was a kid, like I was.
I know you're good.
Like
I'm just saying.
my thing was
though,
like I wanted to be like a comic book.
I
artist.
know.
Like I like that was like my.
I know
yeah.
you were good, but like the thing, what I'm getting at is like if someone who's doing it professionally gives you permission to
Oh,
be
yeah.
okay to yourself, then it's like all of a sudden
Oh,
you
well,
have the
okay,
space
I
to
see
do
what
it.
you're
You know
saying.
what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like if he goes and he gives you affirmations like, yeah, man, you do really good, or oh, hey, I
Yeah.
never thought of that, or oh, hey, I do this, and then
Yeah.
it's like all of a sudden you don't
Oh,
have to.
I thought you meant, do you want
yourself.
to learn how to draw? I'm
No,
like,
fuck
oh
no.
man, like I took so many art courses back in
No,
the
fuck
day.
that.
Like,
Fuck that.
yeah.
Fuck that. It's like, okay, we're gonna take a heavy dive into this. So cheers,
Let's do
Ty's
it.
here.
Hey, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
this
show,
is
Ty,
fantastic.
where we don't like talking about what. So we're not talking about drawing. We're talking about why. And the purpose is that you need to release whatever it is that's keeping you on that page and not letting you put it out to the world.
Yeah.
And you need to forgive yourself for that. So you need to focus on the why of the project, not the what of the project. Doesn't matter if it's a perfect circle. The fact is that you actually put pen to paper and made a circle, right?
There you go.
For yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry. For yourself.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I mean, yes, in that respect, you're right. It would probably help to have somebody else go, "Oh yeah, that's actually cool," and that would work. So maybe, yeah,
Someone that you appreciate.
yeah,
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So I have two things to say. One, and I want to come back to it, is the perfectionism that you were
Yeah.
talking about, because it's something that I struggle with a ton.
Yeah.
And people who know me in the past, like through music, my wife, just family members, everything, like overkill,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Captain Overkill and just perfectionist and everything.
Sure, I getcha.
But the other thing is what you were saying, with like allowing yourself to open up for sure. And it's something that I've experienced going to school, right? I'm taking architectural animation at the college, and we've learned how to draw too. And I just finished my first year. I've never drawn anything other than like, I don't know, like shit you drew in high school. Like, oh yeah,
okay.
cool. This AFI logo is pretty cool. I'll draw
Yeah,
that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that's it. But this course, like our first semester, they had us draw just on pen and paper, or just on paper. It was all different types of pencils. It was like our instructor Brenda she's like a super mogul in art, right? It's
Yeah.
like what she does, it's what she's always done. And to learn from her, and for her to not be like generically talking to me and being like, oh no, this isn't good or that is good, but to like actually critique and be like, this line weight needs to be stronger, this perspective needs
Oh,
to be
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it snaps your brain a little bit, and it like whiplashes you into being like, okay, well, I don't need to worry about, like you said, like the fundamentals that I'm doing. I just need to worry about these little tiny things, because you can perfect those.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But
break
like
it
the
down.
concept is never going to be perfect. And I had to like remap myself for that. And it's really helped me. And then in second semester, we scrapped all of the hand stuff and we went just to iPads. So we got to do all digital work.
That's cool.
And you take that mentality. I was really worried, right? Because I was like, okay, now we're super focused on pencil and paper. Now we're like drawing with computers, and I don't know about that.
Whole different medium.
That like remapping of the brain helped me just be like, oh, I can apply this to everything now. Architectural design, music, anything, taking care of my kids, like everything is just like a remapping because somebody looked at it and allowed me to kind of open up, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a family member or a friend or somebody close. It was like a professional that I respected right off the bat. And that was really cool. And it was like I don't know, cheesy, but it's like an awakening, right?
Of course.
From
Yeah.
something that you never thought you would get before.
That's an
Yeah.
important like gift though, man. Like quick story. I went to Guatemala a few years ago, and I was on like a paddle boat that I paddle board, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
That I rented, and I was so frustrated, man. I was slapping the water, and I was spinning in circles. I was swearing at the top of my lungs. I was being so disrespectful, and there was just these two kids sitting on the shoreline playing with it was like a fire. They were burning garbage. They were lighting branches on fire and putting them out in the water, and I like immediately changed my life. I was like, I am so fucking spoiled. Yeah, at the time, you know what I mean? Like emotionally though, like not from like a money thing or anything, but like just emotionally, it was like the fact that I think that I can come here, spend my money, and then treat like just explode like this
sure.
when this is what these kids are doing. And it's just like that little bit, man. It's just like I applied that to so much more in my life after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the same kind of thing. It was just like this awakening all of a sudden. It was like, oh, this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's
that
pretty
story.
crazy. Yeah, it's just nuts, man. And like going back to the perfectionist thing, it's something that I guarantee you all three of us have struggled with. I know I don't like personally know you guys, but I know you well enough to like the perfectionism is the curse in our lives for sure.
Yeah.
And like it's like the curse of creativity, right? Because you have the positive side of it, which is that we have the ability to create, and a lot of people don't. I mean, I guess technically, if you want to get into it, everybody does, but not everybody knows how to harness it, I
Yeah,
guess. You know?
not everybody can.
Yeah, or like
create,
tap
yeah.
into it and like live in that creative world. But for people like us, like that's a positive. Is our whole lives center around creation, right? That's why we are sitting here today.
Yep.
That's how we met each other. That's how we've gotten through our careers. It's who we are.
In the process of creating, as we sit here talk about creating.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. But
so
then
cool.
the curse is like there's something that has happened in our lives to make us go, okay, well, everything needs to be perfect. It's black or white. At least that is for me. So it's like, I need to do this project. I need to write this song. I need to play this riff. I need to do whatever, and it has to be top tier A+, or it's shit.
Yeah.
And that's like the worst thing. We've done therapy. I've tried to like figure out different paths and stuff, and I cannot crack that. And I feel like it sets the bar high enough to where your creation is always fantastic, and it is always top tier. Like when you step away from it, you take a breath, you come back to it. You're like, oh, it is actually really good. It is what I wanted, but to kind of break out of that perfectionism mold is just fucking impossible. And I don't know if you guys deal with that too.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I find I do it a little more selectively maybe than you do.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's things that I get really passionate about.
Yeah.
I tend to get laser focused, and then I get too into the weeds on whatever I'm doing, and just really concentrated on whatever those little details are, making it this, that, or the other. It's funny, something you said though, when you're talking about seeing things black and white. It's like it's funny because I'm always preaching to people about like living in the shades of gray, right, in between those black and whites. But yeah, now that you mention that, I guess in that respect, in things that I create and things that I get really passionate about, I do get this black and white, like it's got to be perfect or else it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And which is an interesting thing for me to just realize right here. It's like, well, I'm not really taking the advice that I give other people sometimes about things.
The hardest pill to
right?
swallow, right?
In that I'm doing this this very black and white thing instead of just being, oh, okay, well, no, it's okay, it's good enough. At this point, it doesn't have to keep going forever and ever and ever. You know, I'm thinking of the stuff I've been recording,
The
now,
music project,
and
yep.
working.
I'm thinking about it too, man.
Right, because I've been working on it now for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right, and now it's just remixing little tiny things.
Yeah.
You know what though, man? You just need a couple like affirmations. Like it would be the same as the drawing. Like you just need to put like a few things out, and people celebrate it, and you go, okay, I'll give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
totally.
and then like you'll blow your whole wad, and like you'll be like, oh man, it didn't get received that way I wanted. But then it's like you do the next one.
Well,
right?
for
Like,
me, it's been the whole like, oh, well, if I can't execute it on that whole marketing strategy that I put together, then somehow it's a failure because I didn't like part of my plan was to prove that method would work, and that if I don't follow through with all of the steps involved that I put into my head, right?
So
like,
Dave is still being competitive with people that you're arguing with that aren't in the room with you. Because now you have to prove to these people that all the stuff you spent all this time on, it has to be right. It has to be right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if it isn't, then what?
Yeah, right. And then it's like, well, then I was just that guy talking out of my ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a
Walking
proving
around,
ground.
Like, damn it, I don't want to be that guy. I was going to show. I'm going to do this thing.
You know what though? Confession time, like to my YouTube friends, like when I started the YouTube channel, I was going to do my journey to 1 million subs. And I did not realize how wrong I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like 1 million is a ton, man.
That's a lot.
It is
That's
a
a lot.
fucking
It's
ton.
a lot.
But it was like it took like either way, whether I would have pursued that or not, it took until I actually did it to find out if it was logical or not. Turns out it was not.
Yeah. Have you
fair
checked
enough.
your subs
Yeah.
lately?
I have, yeah.
You're 7.99 thousand.
Yeah, I know.
You're like so close to 8,
It'd be at 8
which is
tonight.
like okay, 1 million. That's a far way away. But 8,000 people is
then it
also a
becomes
lot of
realistic, right?
people.
Yeah.
Because like now, instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna put out these videos, and I'm gonna be at 1 million right away, and I'm gonna prove this big point. It's like, well, now I know that I want 10K by my birthday, and then it's like now even before that, it's like I know I'll get 10K before my birthday.
Incremental.
You know what I mean?
goals,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's like you don't know those until you take a step. Because like, you know, maybe you put out a song and it does 1 million fucking views overnight. Maybe you put out a song and nobody sees it.
Yeah.
Totally.
You can't bank on either.
Oh, it's
You
totally
can't bank on
possible,
either,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. You kind of have to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun though.
Oh yeah,
That's
totally.
and it brings us back to what we were talking about before. It's like I used to do sound and production because I just wanted to be where the bands were.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I was in the band. I just wanted to be where the music was, man. I just wanted to be alive. And it was
Yeah.
like now it's like I'm just chasing that same feeling. I'm just doing it on my terms at the expense of no one else.
Totally.
And there's just different vehicles for it now.
Yeah.
And it's like you just gotta do the same thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like to go back to that a little bit, yeah, to like the perfectionist thing for sure. It's like what I consider to be like the worst part for me, for sure. It's something that I have struggled with. I've got teachers last semester that were saying like there was one point at where I was over 100 in every class. And for our final project for 3D modeling, it came in late just because there was like some computer problems and stuff for me, and I was panicking, just like you, just like freaking out over really nothing.
In hindsight, it makes no
right.
sense.
It was nothing, but in the time, like you could not have given me a worse scenario to live through. And I emailed her right away. It was like 4 a.m, and I was like, "This is not. I need to do something. It's the end of the semester. I cannot take this late. Blah 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 blah." And she emailed me back, and she's like, "Relax." She's like, "An A is still an A. You're still gonna pass. Like, just like get out of that headspace, you know." And it's so easy to get into. It's harder for me to get out of it than it is for me to dive into it, right? Because
Yeah.
I just automatically go there every time.
Well, how often do people chase you around and say, "Hey, man, you should fuck up some more"?
Yeah,
And in a positive note, you know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah.
And like I want to support you. Like you should fall some more, and I'm gonna help you get back up, and let's do that.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, "Oh, you're gonna try something." Nah, you're a fool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the common one in those two is just like it's so divided.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the majority of people aren't interested in really seeing you rise up.
Yeah. It's
No.
so disappointing. It's so
Kind
disappointing.
Yeah.
of the thing, unfortunately.
Well, and like you were saying, Jesse, like it kind of like if you're not careful with it, it bleeds into other aspects of life, right? And talking about like being humble and stuff, man, like I know you guys had Zach on here, and I was a part of that band, Youngbloods, and they fired me at one point. It was because I think my daughter's, so it's almost 5 years at this point. And that was like the biggest humbling moment, because at the time I was so deep into like, everybody's got to be on my mindset 24 hours a day. Everybody has to do what I'm doing. I'm the perfectionist. I'm doing all this. I was just a dick, right? And it was just like, I had no justification in it.
I've been that guy in the band
Like
before.
no matter how I've looked at it, in hindsight, like you said, there's no justification for it. Like every dude is equal in that band. Every person has a say. Everybody is able to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
But I just took it so far because I was the perfectionist, right? And I was like, no, if we're going to record, like it's got to be like this. It has to sound like that. It has to be mixed like this, blah, 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 blah. And finally, and I don't blame them, like they had enough of it, right? And it totally, I still haven't talked to him. Relationship is sour. And it breaks my heart, right? Because we were super close. But that mentality I couldn't get out of. And I wasn't even recognizing it. And I think the difference between 32-year-old Tyler and, I don't know, what was I, 27-year-old Tyler is like there's some self-humility involved now. And there's some self-awareness that you need in order to do this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? I didn't do obviously circumstances are slightly different, but yeah, I've fucked up relationships with people that I was in bands with just because of, well, what looks back now is like really, really stupid, superficial stuff.
Yeah.
You know what,
right?
though,
That really does not make a difference in the scheme of life at all whatsoever in any way.
And the same thing, man. Like I actually just confessed this. It's funny we're doing this. I just confessed this morning, but it's like I have a real hard time learning like certain types of music and certain like if a song has a story and I just don't understand the story, I just cannot keep my attention on it. You know what I mean? Like if a song just has like a theme and like a whatever, like that's all fine because it's just like bar by bar, that's fine. But if it's a story, it just fucks with me for some reason.
Oh.
And that drove my band apart, and it ended in a big screaming match, me packing up my stuff and being told that I had to leave. And it's just like, man, that like in that moment, it's like it doesn't matter what excuse or what I come up with to justify it for myself, I'm still walking out of this building. And it's like the hard thing though, and it's like like for my own stance is it took me a long time to stop living in that moment, in that
Yeah.
basement when I was asked
Totally.
to leave. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's behind me, man. I can't do anything about that. And I don't
Well,
want to.
no, you
Yeah.
can't.
I
I
don't-
mean,
you know.
and really, it all it's there to do at this point is just to inform you of a better way to be and interact with people going forward, so that you don't make those same mistakes of
Yeah.
right. Like you got to let go of certain things.
You gotta
Sometimes,
learn,
and
right?
You gotta let go and let people have control. Like circling back to the tattoo thing. Letting Kevin do to some degree almost whatever. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Totally.
On
It's
my,
therapeutic
for
though,
the
right?
first time. And you know what? It kind of feels good to just be like, whatever, we're gonna do this thing, and yeah, I'm trusting you to make it turn out good. I have no control over this, and yeah.
Again, it's a do as I say, not as I do, right?
Yeah.
Because you could never sit there and be like, Dave, just do it. Just like, man, just
be
record
free.
this song. Just do whatever. You could
Just
never
put it-
do that.
it. Oh, I know. I always want to go back. And,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and add this and change that. And does this really sound this good?
Yeah.
Should I do this? Oh, should this be there instead? And yeah.
Well, it's like, so then instead of lowering the bar, which you should never ask of yourself, you can change the race though.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, maybe it's not, maybe I'm not putting out this diamond plated record, but maybe I'm doing TikTok covers or like,
Yeah.
like Christmas covers on your guitar,
Yeah.
like whatever, right? Like, and then
Yeah.
it's like, now you can build that stability at a different safe place until you work up to where you want to do.
Well,
the
and,
big
and
flashy
just
thing.
going into it with like a different mindset and intent to begin with, I think, for me anyway, would kind of helps, right? Like we were talking about something before we
Putting a
started
song together.
tonight.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And just like the idea of what we're gonna maybe do with that, and it's that'll be like a good practice to just put it together, record it, put it out, and out it goes. Okay,
Yeah.
now on to the next one.
Yeah.
Just
Totally.
let it go. Off it goes.
You know
now
what,
next
though?
one.
When Kevin started tattooing my leg, I told him the same thing. I was like, if I was a tattoo artist, I would be like, hey man, like come back in a week,
Yeah.
come back in a week. Be like, let's give it a month or two and then come back again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just like always want to keep going. I was just like, I would never want to just let it go.
Yeah.
And he's like that, but it's a skill you have to learn, right?
Yeah,
It's
I would
the same as learning
if I
guitar.
was, doing a tattoo. Oh my god, yeah,
Dude.
I would freak out.
But
just
we-
like
we
the
all
idea
say
I'm
that
doing this
not
and it's
being
not gonna
tattoo
be
artists.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember sitting in a Starbucks with Kevin at Christmas, and we had this exact same conversation.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, man, like to get out of that mindset, it's just ridiculous. But he's like, but I'll tell everybody else to,
yeah, right.
because it's a lot easier,
Super
right?
easy.
But
Yeah,
same thing.
it's way
Kevin's the
easier to
guy
give
who was
advice.
sitting in the studio till 4 a.m. because one riff didn't sound right, and it was like he would play it through on whatever setting, and then he would move it one little dot, and then he'd play it again. And he'd be like, "Nope, still not right." And you know, he was still that guy. So it's like it's still a learning process for him to be able to let go of these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just like it never ends, man.
Yeah.
It never ends.
I know.
Absolutely.
Crazy thing about tattooing though is everybody's gonna see that, and like it looks good, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks
everything
great.
that Kevin does is like a progression on the last thing, and that
Oh,
last
yeah.
thing was fantastic.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's getting so good so fast. Like,
And like you can kind of hide in the music a little bit when you release it. You're like, okay, well, there's 4 other guys involved. There's 3 other guys involved. You know, there's different parties involved. There's mixers. There's masters. There's like shields to hide behind.
There's
but like that's
layers.
all him.
Yep.
So that is such a jump for him, and it's like it's
yeah.
working out really well mentally
yeah.
too. He's doing good.
You know what though? Like I've seen you as a guitar player more than like we've probably even just like hung out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like I'm sitting here thinking about like the style and the way that you play, and it's like it's actually very obvious that you're a perfectionist.
Oh,
Because like even the way you
interesting.
hold a pick, it's like to keep your hand out of the way. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like you can still play it with your hand where it goes, but you don't want it there.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
so funny that you say that, because I have since like in the last year I've started repositioning pick like positions.
Really?
Yeah, to snap out of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just little things like that. And I'm like, well, maybe if I snap out of that pick position, maybe I don't have to sweep as technical as I wanted to. And then if I don't sweep as technical, maybe my tone doesn't have to be like pitch. Okay, well, maybe if my tone's not great, maybe I don't think that my kids need to be perfectionists. You know, like it just snowballs, right? It snowballs.
Hey, I'll drink to that one.
Yeah. And like the whole point is just like I'm trying to remap everything, because I'm at the point in my life where another problem I have, I guess, is I'm constantly living in the past, being like, that sucked. I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Bad mental, right?
I'd fallen prey to that for far too long.
Yeah,
It's only
yeah.
now just kind of starting to break out of that.
And I'm
hole.
trying to do little tiny card houses and little tiny like wood structures in my life to be like, okay, well, if I can do it here, I can do it here.
Yeah.
And it's like your steps to I don't know, just to breaking a habit, right?
Yeah.
And if I do it here, okay, well, maybe we can take the next flight up and we'll do it here. And then we'll take those little steps, but we'll do the next flight when I'm comfortable, right?
Well, I mean, that's really good that you're working on that.
It's good that you're aware of it.
Yeah, and that's been a struggle. But that's the problem, though, is I'm aware of it, and I go, well, I'm a perfectionist. I can just change it like this. Okay, I can't change it. Well, now I'm fucked.
You know what,
right?
though? You know what, though? We've talked about this here before, and it's like there's this theory of like when you find out the root of what's wrong, it immediately fixes itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's like maybe you just haven't found the root yet.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because like if you tell me like, you know, smoking is a hard one because it's like addictive, but like if I had like a behavior and it was impeding on my life and you explained to me that I was doing that every time I was anxious about this one thing, then it's like, oh, I want to go outside and do this thing because I'm anxious about this, so I can correct that.
Right.
And it's like that becomes the habit if you want it to be, right? But it's like once you're actually aware of the root of it and the reaction, then it's like now you can intervene, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because like if you have a root and then like an event happens and then you don't intervene and that takes you to living in the past again, then it's like you're going to continue to go that way, right?
Yeah.
But like if you can see where that pattern happens, like say like I don't know whatever it is, like say you forgot something, so now you're hard on yourself for being like not mindful or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, so instead of being like, okay, now jumping to the being mean to yourself, it's like, okay, you forgot something outside. How can I adjust this so the next time I don't forget something outside?
Yeah.
And it becomes a positive intervention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Easier said than done.
Oh,
right?
sure.
Well, I mean, you're rewiring neural pathways,
Yeah.
right? Like is what you're doing on like the physiological level in your brain. Like you have to rewire how, you know, neurons are
The knee-jerk
firing.
is,
Yeah, right. Like you have to actually change how your brain is structured. And they say like that you can get you can get like a comfort even from negative things because your brain just gets used to. I'm butchering this. Oh my God! It's like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of like the idea that you can, if you're always thinking a negative thing, it form like certain pathways will form.
Right.
Right.
You get used to it, right?
And you get used to it, and then you reinforce them, and then you get like a little, you know, good feeling from feeling something bad.
Right. A path is still a path.
A path is still a path.
Yeah.
Right. And then but to turn that into a positive thing, like you have to really work because it's like, you know, flowing water. It's going to go to the path of least resistance, and you've already built this strong pathway, you know, reinforcing this negative thought pattern.
Totally.
And then to turn that into something else, you have to kind of divert the water, so to speak, in this other direction. And then, but to build that new pathway, you have to keep reinforcing it to build a pathway until it's as strong as the old one. And
There's a Bible verse in this somewhere.
Yeah,
Is there, I'm sure there brought something. Yeah.
This is not the place for that.
Yeah. we're gonna butcher neuroscience and theology tonight and all of this. And just
that's good.
It's cool though, man. Like it's important, like to both of you guys. Like I hope that you're proud that you can take one lesson and apply it to other layers of your life, because a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like coming from like a general management or like a manager, it's like all I wanted to do was develop somebody so that they had skills to take on the world. I didn't want to teach you how to sell my product. I wanted to teach you how to be a people person so you could sell anything. You could sell yourself, right? It's just like, to me, it's like if I'm just teaching you to just take this beer, it's like, what am I actually fucking teaching you? I'm wasting your time and my time, right?
Yeah.
And it's like if like, to tie it back to my point, it is alarming the amount of people that can like take lessons and not apply it to the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And you know, I was that for a long time, and I still can't do that to all of the like facets of my life or whatever. But I'm trying to a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And on that note, I really appreciated that video that you posted about your journey.
Yeah.
It was great.
You like that?
Yeah. I texted you about it, but
I appreciate
like, man, like just genuine reactions and genuine emotions right now are so hard to come by. You know, like even like online, and I don't know, like this is low hanging fruit for sure, but you can't believe anything. You know, you always have everything you look at. You're like, is that person really, you
it's
know?
not low hanging fruit, man. It's life. Like,
It's
look at all
like-
these bands. Like,
Yeah, is it
everything,
real?
man.
Bands, anything, like, everything is fake.
Yeah.
Everything's
You know
fake.
what I mean? Everything really
And then you get in
is
trouble
at
for
this point.
saying it's fake too.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. It's such a strange time to be alive, but like it's like everything really is just this illusion of things, right? Like people, this room we're sitting in, right? Like
Yeah.
people out there can't see what's actually behind here. We know,
Yeah.
you know now because you see it.
Hello.
I know because I live here. But you know what I mean?
It's different though, right?
It's much different than what anybody would think just to see this video right
Yeah.
now. So even this is just like an illusionary construct for the sake of the internet.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
But it's practical.
It's practical, right? I mean, obviously, you want to, doing a little podcast, you want to make it look
wanna make
good,
it look good.
right? All that sort of stuff. But what I'm saying though is like people are doing that with their lives, like the way they're portraying themselves. We hear this all the time.
Totally.
You
The
see
social
on
media life.
Well, the Instagram, perfect look, perfect this, perfect house, perfect vacations,
Yep.
blah 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 blah, and that's like one small sliver of that person's actual life,
Yeah.
and that is like the best possible stuff that's
It is
ever
the best
happening.
moment and edited to be better.
And
Yeah.
edited to be even better, and set up to even so it's, and then we all, even knowing that, still somehow take that in as, oh, I have to live up to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have to, you internalize that. Even if I know that, to some degree, being inundated with enough of it, I still would want. Oh man, I'm not.
'Cause
I'm not living up to some.
The overwhelming evidence doesn't convince you anymore, right? Does that make sense? So like in my say take a YouTube video of mine and say it gets 1,000 comments.
Yeah.
I bet you 990 of them are good and 10 of them are bad. And I can recite you every one of the bad
course,
ones.
yeah, right.
You know
The
what I mean?
negative,
Yeah.
Every single one of
Yeah.
them, but it's
Yeah.
but it's that's just that is something that I've let myself become accustomed to, and it's just that drips into all different facets, including the social media side, right? Because it's the majority of the time it's never like that, but you still measure up against it.
Yeah.
You
know what
still
I
want to
mean?
measure yourself
Yeah,
up.
it's-
Because you want, it's in the back of your head, you want a piece of that.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Everybody wants a piece of that good life.
Yeah.
That awesome, you're always at the beach and you're always doing
Of
this
course.
and that, and you're around beautiful women and you've got money and blah blah blah, living extravagant. And really, it's like such a small sliver of humanity that comes anywhere near that. Like the people that are actually living it is like just this tiny, tiny little subsection of a
It's
subsection.
6% of the world,
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
not even, man. We're talking like 1%.
Yeah.
And they
This
don't
is
have
like
time to make
one
videos
last-
because they're living their life.
Yeah, right. I mean, but that's like the it's that whole Fight Club thing. It's we all were promised we're going to be movie stars and
Right.
rock stars and celebrities, and in reality,
Yeah.
You know what
what
though?
are we,
If you won't be a famous celebrity if you don't try.
Well, no,
Hey.
If you don't
there's
show up,
there's that, but what I'm saying though is just like
I know what you're
that
getting
as an individual, like to strive for more, it's one thing, and that's a good thing to do.
Yep.
But like societally speaking, it's doing horrible things
Oh,
to
dude.
us, like
Yeah.
horrible things to the way we interact with each other and the way we treat each other, and like it's
a weird thing
crazy.
though, man, because it's
crazy.
on top of, say, if I have this fake Instagram personality and people are like just for the example, say people are measuring themselves up to me and be like, oh man, I wish my life was like that. I wish I had that opportunity, whatever it was. It was I lost my whole train of thought on this, but but nope, I'm not even gonna try.
Shit.
Not even
No,
gonna
it's
try.
just, yeah.
Cheers to that one.
Cheers to
Good
that
job.
one.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. It's just we've just been conditioned to good enough isn't good enough
Oh, totally.
anymore.
Yeah.
In almost any facet, in anything, right?
Yeah.
It's just not enough to be average or just even just slightly above average. You got to be something else. Everybody's looking for
An edge.
Well, yeah,
Everyone's looking for a secret button to press, man.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, we all want to live life on easy mode, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have to work for anything if they don't have to.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't.
I don't know,
yeah.
man. I don't know.
Yeah, not
I'm just
so.
I back to the humbling conversation. It's I feel like I was sprinting and sprinting and sprinting, and then to just be taking a leisure walk is just so nice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
When you put it like that,
Yeah.
yes, that sounds fantastic.
Because it's just I remember I would just I'd just be up at 6 and I'd just be doing stuff and typing and writing and practicing drawing and whatever I was doing and
Yeah.
guitar in the morning and then work all day and then come home and shoot videos and then come here and do the podcast and go home and edit videos and then go to bed and I'm yeah, I did a whole bunch of something today. It was like, fuck, I'm tired, man.
Yeah.
And then it's just like,
You
I can
pay
do
for it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I can do less and enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like now because I'm enjoying the process of it. I like the editing portion instead of it just being a task.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because now it's like it's time for me. The door's closed and the lights are like kind of cool
Yeah.
and there's cameras around. It's just like it's a neat vibe that I've built for
Yeah,
myself.
totally.
It's just like I don't know, man. It's just
Well, it's like
It's so
editing
important.
and like mixing audio for me. I can do that for.
well, and it helps that you have nice
Days
speakers
without-
and a nice TV and like you
Well,
have your
yeah.
space, right? Like
I made it so that it's like it's easy and convenient, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just sitting in my living room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
turn it on and sit there on my couch, and it's just good to go, right?
Yeah. it's
But-
important though to
but-
know how it works for you.
Well, yeah. Right? In a perfect world, I'd have like a whole setup where I would have all the video stuff set up at the same time. Have a little chunk of the room where it's all the audio stuff. Everything all connected, everything all plugged in. You know what I
fuck
mean?
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
fuck
just so
yeah.
you just walk in and it's like it's all good to go. Oh, I got an idea to do this. Oh, blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah. Oh, I'll turn on all video. Okay, without having to. For me, it's like the any kind of change in setup or anything like that. Having to it kills my creativity.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's so many times we're just getting set up and trying to do something like just to figure out the technical side to make it work. Just kills my desire to actually even do the thing. By the time if I run into some snag with with the recording rig, right? Like I've loaded in some new piece of
Well,
software
when we set up the
that's not
Scarlet
playing
thing, right?
good with, right? Like that was a good one where it's just like this thing is just not working.
Yeah.
This is really pissing me off, and then end up spending a few hours trying to figure it out. And it's by the time it's up and running, it's like I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm done with this for now. Whatever initial ideas I had, I don't even want to follow through on. So yeah, in a perfect world, for me, it's like having everything set up as best I can to where I can do almost nothing if an idea comes to me and just be able to start on it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
nice.
I
Be the
need,
dream.
right? Because
Yep.
like all the setup and the prep time for me, it kills it. Like the creativity is gone. It goes away. The other side of my brain takes over. The figure out the nuts and bolts of why this thing isn't where. What's the technical? Start troubleshooting. Blah blah blah.
Totally.
And then it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to set up as best I can to where I can just.
It's important though.
Go.
It's important, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like I've been playing around, like just filming myself playing guitar and stuff. And it's like if it wasn't easy and if it didn't sound cool, I would never do it.
Yeah,
He
like-
sounds great, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate.
I love
that.
him.
I appreciate that. It's been a long time since I've actually like played guitar.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. A little nervous.
Yeah, really nervous. Yeah, but like so. Actually, if you all want to get deep into it with the social media, I've started deleting people who keep me from posting things.
Oh, can you talk about that a little bit more?
So
What do you mean?
Like I would go to like share something on Instagram and I'd be like, oh fuck, like I don't want this person to see it.
Oh, interesting.
Or I don't want that person to see it. So I just started fucking getting rid of them.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
them.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
people that are on your.
On my social medias and shit, right? It's just
okay,
like if
yeah.
I'm not posting something, like, and it's the same story of like the one bad apple because it's like I've got like I don't know like 700 people on Instagram, but I won't post because of 2 people. It's like fuck those 2 people.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
see what
Like,
you're saying
and it's
now,
like that's been
yeah.
my new journey because it's like now it feels like I can free up more space and I don't mind finding my patch chords and tuning my guitar or restringing a guitar real quick to do a video because it's like I'm not concerned about this one person that gave me
Yeah.
some sort of weird unwarranted anxiety, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's interesting though. It's just a part of that barrier too, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, I've never thought. Well, I mean, I have thought about that, but I've never applied the theory.
Action
right?
it, bro. Action it.
Yeah, I've never because I think we all have people on social media, and I mean, social media in itself is like
It was
the
so
best
freeing.
and worst thing in the world. But sometimes it's nice to release on there, like you said, and to do something that you haven't done in a long time, or to continue doing something in a new avenue. And social media is just like it's the best entry point for
just
everything.
a vehicle, man. It's just a vehicle.
Everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never. I like I said, I have people on my social media that I'm like, I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
It's not so much that like I don't
know.
want them to see this. It's just like their mind comes up or their name comes up in my
Yeah.
brain when I think about posting something, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like fuck it, whatever, right? I
Yeah.
don't need to post it. And then it's just like, no, fuck that person, man. Like I'm gonna post it because like someone else might care. Actually, another musician in town stopped me at the casino once, and he said, hey man, I appreciate you posting. He goes because now I post more and I get the
Nice.
memories showing up. And he's like, so I actually
Nice.
remember shit now, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't have to save all these fucking photos. They're on the internet and I can see them all the time.
Oh, that's
It's
wicked.
just like, fuck, man, that's cool, right? Because
Yeah.
like in my little town, man, I was like, I got made fun of all the time for posting on social media as much as I did. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't really care, man. Like this is
Where
for
you
me.
from?
Coldell.
Oh, okay.
just like right over here.
Oh, yeah, just right over here.
It's just there was only like 6,200 people when we were there. Like,
yeah. What
100
year did
people-
you graduate?
2010.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like 120 people.
Yeah.
Not a bad grad class, but. And where'd
Yeah.
you grow? Wait, where'd you
Raymond.
You were born
yeah,
in Raymond?
Raymond, yeah.
Yeah.
Born and raised, high school. I think there's 250 kids from grade 10 to grade 12,
Yeah.
and I was like one of 3 that weren't Mormon.
I was gonna say,
you know, so and our graduating class was like I think it was like 45 kids.
Did you see y'all are getting a liquor store?
We're not.
Or did they vote against it?
We're
What?
not. Yeah, they voted against it. Landslide. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, they tricked us.
Man, I was like, the taxes alone has got to get them. Like they're smart enough to know that the
make
tax
some money off
contribution
it,
to this
yeah.
to the town would do so good. And no,
Maybe one day. We always joke that like the second that you see the town of Raymond sign, just prepare to go back 15, 20 years. Maybe even Prohibition. You know,
Yeah.
technically we're in Prohibition,
Technically,
right?
Yeah, that's about 100 or so.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't even in this country, actually.
No, it wasn't,
Yeah.
but it is now.
But it is
right?
now,
We're
yeah,
bringing it
yeah.
back.
making
Yeah,
it
man.
fashionable here in Southern Alberta.
It sucks. Like, and it doesn't suck like specifically for that. It just sucks to live in a place that doesn't want to progress.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
Yeah.
Especially when I have kids. We bought a house there. Like we want to.
You want them to have
planted
liquor.
the seeds. Yeah,
You want
we
those
want
kids-
our kids.
to
Yeah,
have-
that's
You
right.
don't want your kid to rebel with Rick. That's
No.
the problem, right?
No,
'Cause
that's the
what-
problem.
Yeah,
Wow, no, that's not even
well-
what I did. That's not even what I did. I was pretty fortunate, man. I had weird problems as a kid because
Yeah?
like I like went to my parents and was like, hey, my friends want to get drunk this weekend, and my dad was like, yeah, sure, you can do it here. I was like, oh, okay.
As long as it's there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like, and then like
that's
you know, like
nice.
they would tell the parents, but like, yeah, like you know, like we live out of town, like it'd be loud. We'll drive them home after, whatever. And it was like it was cool, but it was
That's
just
cool.
like I don't often meet people in that situation, so it's like my problems seem different than other people's problems.
See, I had a friend whose parents were that person, but yeah, at the time my mom was like, no dice.
Born and
nada.
raised here.
Oh no.
Oh.
Where were you from?
I'm from the Maritimes.
He's a PEI.
Oh.
PEI, no,
No,
I
he's
lived
a-
there too. No, Nova Scotia.
There you
I forgot
go.
You're,
From Nova Scotia.
you're a blue noser. I forgot.
That's
about
right.
That's right.
Yeah, not a spud.
So,
Blue noser.
what brought you to Alberta?
Oh, my parents moved out here.
The oil, probably.
No, not no. The Navy did.
Oh, nice.
Actually?
All right.
Yeah, the
In
because of
the
all the
Navy.
you know the joke is this is a landlocked province, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
for anybody who doesn't you see where this is going, right? Like this is
That's
like,
why I was like, what are you doing out here in the Navy?
well, not me. My
Yeah, where do you do your sea, air, and land training?
exactly, exactly.
The university pool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All the destroyers and the
Yeah, dive
the
into
old
Henderson.
man river here.
Yeah. You dive into Henderson and come up with an extra like arm or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, my stepfather was in the Navy for like 28 years or whatever, and he got posted to Lethbridge for whatever reason.
Cool.
I don't know why. When I was in grade 11, you know, so this would have been like 2001. Yeah, about 2001, and they moved out here. I decided I was going to stay back and finish high school and lived with a friend's family.
Nice.
Got kicked out of that house for selling weed, and then went on a little bit of a tear of a whole bunch of interesting little stories of just teenage
Being a kid.
yeah, teenage shitheadery, basically, yeah. And anyway, I somehow made it through grade 12 and graduated
Nice.
magically.
Congratulations.
Yeah, right. Like, and yeah, if you knew what was going on at the time, it's like, well, that's actually pretty interesting that you could do that. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, my mom came out to watch me graduate. Was like, all right, you're coming with me now, because she's kind of seeing how I was living.
Sure.
Awesome and wholesome as it was.
Yeah.
Me and
Yeah.
a couple other guys living in an apartment building, holding our own little
Fantastic futures ahead of you.
having
Yeah.
our own little versions of drunken teenage fight club over in like a quadplex or whatever.
Amazing.
Right? So neighbors loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe you had the whole quadplex, but of course not.
Oh man.
One no.
Yeah, of course
It was-
not.
Yeah, and we were up top, so it's like people
Oh
underneath.
no.
Anyway, so that only lasted like a month before we were completely evicted. Like,
Yeah.
like just get out today kind
Yeah.
of thing. Anyway, so there was lots of other fun stuff going on too at that time. But she's like, "All right, you're coming with me. We're going."
Nice.
you're
Yeah.
coming
Out
out
to Berta.
west.
Coming to the
Out
mainland.
Alberta.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're going up to
The
Berta.
ocean will make a crazy man out of you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. First 18 years, I guess it did.
I guess, yeah.
And yeah, I came out here, and then I intended to go back eventually, and then never did. And met the person that I ended up getting married to, and we had a kid, and that was something, and then we split up, and yada yada yada.
Here we are. 2022.
Yeah,
What's up?
The kid's great. The marriage was something.
Kid's great. Yeah,
Kids are great.
Well, but yeah, no. That's why I came out here. My stepdad got posted to Lethbridge, and I eventually just followed them out. And they then didn't go anywhere again. I stayed here.
For some reason, Lethbridge is a hot spot for them, man. Like Lethbridge and Milk River.
Well, Lethbridge is like somebody told me once, like years ago, like I was only here for a few years, and they're like, Lethbridge is like a black hole. You just kind of get sucked into it, and then you can't get back.
The
out.
altitude
You
is
can't
low.
leave.
We're in a dip, so every time you leave, it's like you roll back.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah. There's a gravitational pull happening.
Yeah.
Okay,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
There we
Lethbridge
go.
could be cool, man. There's a lot of cool shit that actually it surrounds or is like a part of the Lethbridge history.
Yep.
It's just being the Texas of Canada ruins it. You know what I
Man,
mean?
here comes another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, we'll get in. We can.
That'll
we
be
can
another
choose
day.
Not
Well,
to.
it's the south of the north. Up here.
Yes,
That's what it
totally.
is.
That's all you have to know. Yeah. We actually have
There's
we have some
good
friends
and
from
bad,
Calgary,
but
so
it's an interesting place to be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Do you guys know John Harris? He started Johnny Coffee. Johnny Bean? Johnny Coffee.
On the north side?
I always say
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah.
My wife calls him Johnny Coffee Bean, so if he sees this,
pretty
that's
funny.
your name. But he started Johnny Bean on the north side.
Yeah.
So
okay.
he...
Shout out Johnny Bean Coffee.
That's right, Johnny Bean, Coffee Bean. So he's big into like... He started in Calgary, him and his wife, and they did what they needed to get through the city, but they brought this idea of a coffee shop to Lethbridge because he did a ton of research and they really like planned it. It wasn't just on a whim. Yeah, we got nothing else to do. And I remember him saying like Lethbridge is on the brink of progressing to the next stage of being a city. I think he said, especially like artistically and creatively, and I could be getting this wrong, so John, I'm sorry, but I think once a location hits 100,000 people.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's the 100,000 thing, and then
artists and like schools and just people that are creatively inspired tend to be drawn to it. But I think the problem is Lethbridge just got stuck, right? And like it is growing, but it doesn't feel like it is.
I think there's
you
like
know?
this, like we're at like 110, 112,000, but it feels we're like 60,000.
Yeah.
It's still a small town. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
totally.
oh,
Like
the mentality is even smaller than that. I would argue.
We have like the same shared small town. It's like worse than even Coldell, man. Like some of the places, and like no, we won't get into that conversation. That's another 3-hour conversation for another time. It's like reputations and shit, man. It's just like it happens so quickly in this town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, like they do say though, like once an area hits like 100,000, the jump to I think 300 is usually like pretty quick. Like once it's
exponential.
Certain, and then it tends to jump up pretty fast once it gets going. But
Interesting.
yeah, you're right. We haven't really kind of hit that. Like I've been here now for I think coming up 20 years. Oh man,
21. No, yeah, 20.
20 years in July 5th.
Crazy.
Oh, wow, we should celebrate.
Wow.
Yeah, because I know it was the day after July 4th because we drove through all the northern states. We came out
that's
here.
fun.
So it was like, fireworks everywhere as we're like,
My dad did the same thing. He went back. He was out here he came out for oil and gas because he got seasick out east, so he couldn't fish. That's the only thing he could do was fish.
Yeah.
So he came out for oil and gas. But him and a buddy drove back for like whatever for summer or something like that for fishing season.
Yeah.
And they drove back along the states, but they hit grad season.
Whoa.
So and they were like just teenagers too, like they like fuck high school kind of thing, right? So they just drove back and it was grad season, so they just like had a new party every night.
That's crazy. That is
It's like,
crazy.
oh, man.
And back in the time too, where like I can't even fathom just
It's
doing
like
that
shaking
now.
hands, man. I'm assuming it was like shaking hands.
Yeah, that's all you have to think about, really.
That's all I'm gonna say.
But yeah, and even to get into that a little bit, like it's crazy to even fathom just, hey, let's just rip down to the States quick.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's just not a thing. I don't really go down to the States anyways.
I don't
but,
really. I don't.
My
And
girlfriend's
I-
never been.
And I can't imagine, pre-COVID, it was just like, you want to go to Great Falls, let's do it. Right?
Yeah.
No problem. Grab your passports, whatever. And now, like,
Oh,
frick,
I remember
man.
when you didn't even need a passport.
Yeah.
You just needed your driver's license.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Or
Just show up with 3 of your friends. Yeah, we just turned 21. We want to buy beer. And they're like, all right, see you later.
I remember going camping with my family, and like my dad would go down earlier than my mom would, or vice versa, and they would just write letters to the border Like, so when my mom rolled up with all the kids, she'd be like, "Oh, here's a letter from
I
their
remember that
dad,"
too. Yeah.
and that's all we needed.
wow.
Yeah.
Because we went to a wedding and my dad and I came back to start working when my dad and I, one of the times when my dad and I were working together. And same thing, we're like, well, I'm not 18 yet. Do I need a letter from my mother? And it was like, no, because you guys are still together. You don't need that.
Yeah.
If you're separated or if you're like one person has like any dependencies or any of the like guardian rights changed, then it's like you need signatures and you need everything.
Pretty sure you need a little bit more at the border now.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a whole, like for us to go to Vegas in a couple weeks here, like we have to go online and fill out this whole thing talking about like, because we're Canadian citizens, we have to get the test in Canada, I think, and then we have to fly down and we have to register that we got the test in Canada so we can return to Canada.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, fuck, like.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Plus, like the last time my girlfriend got an official COVID test, she was positive. But that was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But they could still give us grief for it. So we're all going to go get like official fucking COVID tests so that, you know, when I scan my thing, it doesn't say, well, you were just positive last time, right?
Oh, wow,
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Interesting times, man.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know. It's the world we live in now, I guess.
the world we
right?
live in.
Although things are starting to calm down.
It feels
we're
like
kinda,
it.
Yeah, it really does feel like the temperatures come down on that quite a bit.
Yep.
Very quickly.
Speaking of temperature, is it warm in here or is it just me?
You look a little sweaty.
I feel sweaty.
Getting all hot and
Yeah,
bothered.
Tarps off here soon.
You want me to go turn the air conditioner on?
Maybe.
Go hit the AC?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be right back.
I will
I
appreciate
need to
that.
go pee too. So I'll
Okay,
be
you
right
do that. Maybe grab me a beer while you're at it. Grab yourself one.
You got another one?
I think so. I think there's 2 in there. If not, whatever. You can drink your martini shooters or whatever you're having. So outside of school, what else are you doing creatively?
Oh man, that's been like, it's kind of been the struggle, right? So I'm in a design school, so I get to be like as creative as I like. If there is a limit to creativity, which there isn't, but I feel like I'm hitting it every single day in school, right?
Good.
Especially because we're designing houses from scratch. I've never done that before, and they're like, you have 4 months, or not 4 months, but like X amount of weeks to design a house, blah, blah, blah. And so you just like, from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, you're just peaked, right? It's like you brush your teeth and you're thinking about wall thicknesses, and you play with your kids and you're like, well, maybe I can move the living room over here and over there. And it's just constant. So I was really struggling with that. But then like we were talking about like reworking it, kind of being a part of your environment, right? I got into it. I appreciated where I was. And then that just became my life. And now that it's over, I'm like, I need to keep it going. Because I know if I fall off of it, it's going to be a goddamn struggle for me to get back into it in September. And I think like just like Dave was saying too, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, it's probably a crappy analogy, but it's like a puppy that you just let go, right? And that puppy is like your energy. And it's either going to go to the spot you want it to or the spot you don't want it to, but it's going to pick the first thing it sees. So with Dave, when he was talking about like, oh, when I want to sit down and mix and edit and everything, but I have to deal with hardware, he puts all of that energy into the hardware, and now he's cooked, and now he's done, right? Whereas if everything would have worked in a perfect world, as soon as he sat down, then all the energy gets diverted to that, right? So I really try and watch out for that. Like if I know I have something due, if I know this practicum I'm in, like if something is coming up that is like, okay, we need to really work on it, like I make sure if I wake up, if it's 2:00 or whatever the case is, like no distractions, let's do this. So I'm really trying to settle down on that a little bit, but also to keep creativity flowing. So I'm trying to write, long story for the answer, but I'm trying to write, whether for myself, for a couple friends, Levi, who I was in a band Lightworker with, and Grant. Like we've hung out a couple of times, we've talked about doing something, but nothing's ever come out of the theory of talking about it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to play as much as I can, whether that's an hour a day, just similar to you, right? I'm sure you just, I've got 10 minutes, or like, supper's getting
Everyone's
ready, whatever.
sleepy and I'm just doing
I'll
my
just
thing,
riff
right?
it quick, right? So I'm doing that. I'm trying to write a little bit more. Still trying to do some school stuff. I'm going to teach myself some additional school in the spring and summer so that I'm prepared for the fall. And man, like all the energy just goes into the kids.
Yeah, I bet.
Right?
That's
Totally.
so cool.
And that's for sure. Like that's for me. I can play guitar. I can do the music thing. I can do the design thing all day. But like kids roll up and it's like, okay, sweet. See you later, creation. like it's time to be a dad, and that's the best part.
It's good that that's your view though, because like I know people who, and fortunately, like everyone that's come on this podcast has the same kind of vibe when it comes to like parenting. But it's like if your time with your kid was like detrimental, it's like that'd be a problem, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't be having kids.
Yeah, exactly, right. And like, you know, like I won't say names just for the argument, but like I have a friend who like she's like, no, I will never have kids because if it came to like my last bit of my paycheck and it was diapers or a purse, she's like, I might buy the purse. So she's like, I just never will put myself in that situation, right?
Yeah.
But it's like it's dope to hear you being like, nope, my kids come first, and I love that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the best,
I love
man.
the shit out of that.
It's the best. And like that was kind of like going back to the Youngbloods thing, that was we had found out that we were having Bradley while I was still in the band. But things were super sour at that point. And I didn't see the firing coming because I thought it was untouchable, right? Because of my mentality, because of just the state I was in.
You're the guitar player.
I'm the guy,
You're the,
right?
Keystone.
I've done everything up until this point, and I didn't do everything. You know, I probably did like
You
maybe a
justify it
chunk
though,
more than
right?
this person, maybe a chunk more than that person, but I was not the be all and end all, obviously, because they're still going and I'm not in it. But as soon as we kind of found that out, there was like something in the back of my brain, maybe just like a neuron or two that was like, this is more important, right? And like everything is going to revolve around this, not around whatever it is you think it's going to revolve around right now. And being the oldest of 4, like I've been around kids, I know how to take care of them and stuff, but obviously they, you know, I've never had my own. So I didn't know what to expect. Me and Vanessa had no idea. And like, dude, like as soon as Bradley was here, it was just like I woke up and it was over. Like old Tyler was gone. Here's dad, right? And it's been awesome.
I love that.
As much as like Van wants a ton of kids, I would love to have a ton of kids. Realistically, it's not going to happen, right? Sorry, Van, but but yeah, man, having kids is awesome. And like, I don't know what your viewpoint or stance on it is.
I want kids.
I think that like I don't know, to get a little sappy for a second.
Please.
Like we're here to progress, right? As a human species, and I'm not talking like literally progressing, but just everything, like mentally, you know, we got to make sure that we're taking care of our planet now, so then the people that come after us are taken care of. But in order to progress, like you have to have kids. And I'm not that kind of person. It's like everybody needs a kid. Everybody needs
having kids doesn't mean procreate, right?
No,
like,
no, it doesn't.
Being a parent is what you're is
exactly.
What you're
It's
saying,
like okay, like everybody can make a kid, but not everybody can be a parent.
Yeah.
And to pass on the knowledge and like, oh, Bradley, like I remember when I was, you know, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, and this happened to me, and this is how I dealt with it, but I'm going to teach you how to deal with it the way that I wish I would have. That's progression. And then you hope that sticks enough for your kids to pass that on and pass that on and pass it on.
Dude, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you have a change in government. And then all of a sudden, you have a change in foreign policies. And then all of a sudden, you like that's a seed,
Well, I mean,
right?
to some degree.
Yeah, you would hope.
There's a lot of like extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
I think, to extrapolate that it would end up being that far. But just making people better people
Yeah, I guess.
is
yeah.
gonna
Not
build
saying
a
that
better
it's
society.
empowering
but-
people to
yeah.
feel like they can, like they're in control, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, I was gonna say this earlier, but it's like say if I was like the dad and you two were my kids, and say like I was like whatever religion or something, it's like I'm gonna bestow that upon you, and I'm gonna say it's what I think is best for you, but it's actually what's best for me. And the thing is maybe it worked for me and that's great, but that doesn't mean it works for you. And I think like the progression of parenting and like the fact that like there's more, like you said, like the progression becomes, well, we want to have kids not for the sake of the gene pool, but for the sake of progression. Then it's like now you can relay a lot of the like what's best for the kid, not what's best for dad. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well,
Yep.
I mean, I think like I don't know. At least it should inherently come for you. Like once you have a kid, that you put their
needs first.
Yeah,
Totally.
I mean, if you're not, there's like something completely else going on there. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like kind of going back to something you were talking about before about changing the way that kids see things and the way they experience. It's interesting that you mentioned that because for me a big part like of me raising my daughter is actually to break certain family cycles of certain things that have gone on in the past, right? Like that trying to end certain stuff with with me.
Right.
As
Yeah.
opposed to passing it on to her.
Yeah.
Like the way of doing things, like, my dad not being around a whole lot.
Totally.
Like that sort of thing. And when, my ex-wife and I were splitting up, like the thing that really got me the most, that really bothered me the most, was the idea that I might be, perpetuating that cycle of,
You're repeating.
like a broken home,
Yeah.
kind of, dad that's just not in the kid's life, and, all that sort of, and it was like, no, I if that happens, I've failed.
Totally. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have to not have that be a thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm not, right?
Yep.
She's with me half the time, 50-50,
Yep.
like clockwork.
Yep.
That's how it'll be until she's old enough to be on her own.
Totally.
And like I said, like for me, that alone is like a big difference from what I saw, like from my own biological father, right?
Yeah.
Growing up in that sort of situation, it's like, and just knowing that I'm doing certain things differently, and that I'm conscious of these things in a way that I don't think my parents really were, and I don't think people like of previous generations maybe. I mean, some people maybe were conscious in the idea of like what they were passing on and what they were relaying to their kids and things. And I mean, I'm not perfect by any stretch at this, but I think nowadays there is at least more self-reflection and more.
There's a lot.
Right, where people
For
kind
sure.
of are more likely to analyze their behaviors in such a way, and like, oh, okay, how am I affecting this other person, this little person around me that is so malleable.
Yep.
Yep. And they're just little sponges. They're going to take up everything. Whereas, I, at least from my personal experience, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of forethought in some of that stuff growing up.
Yeah,
it was
it was
kind of survival of day to day.
We have to have kids. So like we'll just have the kids, or like
or you had kids just by accident.
Yeah, and now it's
whatever,
like, well,
right, and
whatever.
And now it's just okay. Yeah, how do you get through the? How do you make ends meet every week? How do you do this or that? And it's not like you're not really thinking about how you're affecting them as they are
totally
slowly growing up and becoming
it's
what will be adults that are going to go off
crazy.
into the world and then have to interact with other humans and have their own relationships and all that sort of stuff, right? So, I think it's just it's really important to kind of like sit back and actually think and analyze what it is that you're putting out there. What seeds are you planting that are going to grow in their minds?
Totally.
You know what I mean? So,
there's a really good show on HBO or Crave or whatever you're watching. Called Raised by Wolves. I don't know if you guys have watched it or heard of it at all.
I've read the book.
Have you?
Yeah. That's the sci-fi one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've watched
Ridley Scott's got a part in it.
Yes. I've watched.
So the whole premise of that is androids finding another planet that's habitable for human life, and then they are tasked with progressing human life on that planet.
Yeah.
With humans, and they're androids, right? So they're programmed, and they're programmed to be a mother and a father, and that's their names. And so it's just this whole ordeal of them raising embryos scientifically to birth humans, and then it's teaching them how to live. And like watching that and being a parent is nuts, because I mean, obviously it's scripted, whatever. But like to think about the fundamentals of that, of like, man, some people, like you said, some people just like, whether it's accidental, whether they thought they had to based on political stances, families' views, whatever.
Yeah.
Some people just have kids because it's like, well, I guess.
The thing to do.
I guess, you know,
it's just part of
like,
life.
Sure, sure. That's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, to be a parent, it's like, yes, like every day you wake up, it's yes, whether you're with them or not. Yeah, I'm a dad today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm representing her, I'm representing them, and
it doesn't
it's like,
go away.
never goes
Can't
away.
turn it off.
Man, and
No.
it's the best.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
I am
It is.
such a
It's good
just
though, man.
kids.
Someone holds you responsible.
Yeah.
You know what
kids
I mean?
are awesome.
Well, it makes you be a better person, right?
Totally.
Because I mean, it's made me like having to, every other week I got a single dad. It so
Yeah.
you got to do all these things that if I was just on my own,
Whatever.
right? Exactly. It's like it wouldn't. It forces me to just be that much more on top of everything in my life because I have to. Because if it starts falling apart, then it really can fall apart. And
So here's a question. So if you like pick like a confrontation, like, you know, you've been talking about like a young bloods thing or like any of those things. Do you think if you were a parent and then went through those things, it would have been different?
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Anyone care to
I
elaborate?
I bet you.
Next
all-
question. Yes.
Yeah.
Next question.
I'd have 4 more friends still. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like you're still I feel like you're trying to apologize. Like,
I am a
sounds
little
like you're.
bit. The problem is I haven't talked to him, right?
Yeah.
Like so it happened January because I started at the Goldworks, January 2017.
Shout out to my boy Elliot, man.
Hey,
Elliot's great. Elliot's
he's
great.
the best. He was at my wedding. So they fired me the Sunday before I started. I started on Monday. Crappy, whatever. And yeah, man, it was months. It was months of like social media, right? Bringing it all back around, and it was the lowest hanging fruit of social media is just bickering, and it's and it's emails back and forth about like copyright problems and about we're gonna go ahead with this and we're gonna remove your name off of that. And yeah, if I would have had a child and have gone through the life things that I've gone through right now, I'm like, yeah, whatever. There's
Oh,
more
man.
important things.
Way more important.
There are
things.
way more important things, and I would value a friendship far more than an album or my name on something
Well,
or anything.
That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it said many times that people at the end of their life, nobody's ever wishing that they had worked more
Totally.
or done whatever. It's they wish they had spent more time with the
Yeah.
people that they loved and cared about.
Yeah.
Right? Not
And
all this stupid bullshit that we fixate
my
on.
Well,
from day to
like
day,
right?
so like, how's your relationship with creating music now?
it's the worst.
Is it?
I
Oh,
avoid
wow.
it. Yeah, I
really?
like I was just telling you. This is probably the first year where I've like kind of dipped my toe in it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did it a little bit in quarantine, but that's a lot of people did things that they
Yeah.
probably didn't think that they were going to do. But yeah, like it's just been the worst. Like anytime there's been a band offering, a show offering, anything, I'm like, no, get
It's
me.
tough, right?
Just pretend I've never played an instrument before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I took all of that.
'Cause you're
energy,
living in the past still.
Totally. Yeah. And I took all the energy and I threw it into Bradley and my kids and my wife and everything. Right. And yeah, like I have avoided it
Yeah.
for sure. And now, like I said, this year, I'm just slowly starting to get into it, but I still have some hesitations, right? And I think I always will. It's like the scar that's never going to go away.
Yeah.
But
learn to
I'm
live with it,
at the
bro.
point now where I can look at the scar and be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like, I went through a thing sort of, similar-ish
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, except it involved me just being a drunken asshole
Mm.
and spouting off about stuff that I should have sat down
Sure.
and discussed in a much, more
Yeah.
healthy,
A timelier
positive
scenario,
manner.
maybe.
But yeah, like I went through a period where there was someone that I didn't speak to in a band that were really close for like a long time, years.
Yeah.
And it took a long time for us to even to just be able to hang out and talk again.
Yeah.
And we've jammed a little bit since here and there and whatever, and things are all right now. But
It's never the same.
it's never quite the
never the
same,
same.
right? And so I get where, but I guess what I'm getting at with that is that, just because you haven't talked to any of them yet doesn't necessarily mean you won't at
Doesn't
some
mean it's
point
forever.
in
Yeah.
life,
But
right?
doesn't mean you
it's-
need to either, right?
It's
Yeah.
not necessary that you do, but obviously it's something that's on your mind.
you need to
so-
forgive yourself before you seek
Yeah.
forgiveness from someone else. Because
Totally.
the problem is until you forgive yourself, someone else's apology won't mean shit.
Right. That's
Right?
true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I was explaining this to Dave the other day. Like I'm in a situation where I got asked to gig with people that I used to perform with, and the excitement of me is like yes, but my heart is like there's no way you can do this, bro. Like you
Yeah.
can't. Like you went through
Yeah.
too much. You've come too far. You don't need to do that to yourself.
Trauma.
And it's just
Yeah.
like this is me admitting it's like I'm not going to do that gig. Like
Yeah.
I can't because
Yeah,
like
there you
it's
go.
just I'm not that person anymore, and I don't want to be brought back to that place where I was.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with like my characteristics as a person. I made mistakes. That's fine. I was held accountable for them. That's fine. I don't want to go back there. I've moved on and I've forgiven myself, and I'm not willing to.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the second part of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and that's definitely one thing that like I took therapy after for 2 years and like learned how to communicate a lot better because of that, for sure. Because that's what it came down to, was just communication. It was the worst. Whether my my viewpoints on my position in the band or like my opinions and stuff, whether they were valid or not. It was the way that I was communicating it.
Yeah.
That was the biggest problem. And even with my wife, like, man, communication sucked for a long time, and therapy was like, holy shit, like this is what it's not. There's no standard, but it's like, oh, like it busted me out of
There's
that
an
tunnel
opportunity
vision,
though, right?
right? Yeah, and it broadened that horizon, which like I've tried to reach out to them a few times in the past. I've reconnected with Zach. Like I can talk to Zach now and it's fine.
Nice.
Right. But yeah, the other guys, it's like I've reached out and two, there comes a point to where like you just have to pull back.
Oh, dude, you got to leave
You
it,
know?
right?
Like-
You put it out there.
Yeah.
Just put it out there and then leave it.
Like I said,
Because
for you,
anything more, I mean, you've done your thing, right? So if they're not receptive to it at this point, you can't force it.
Totally.
It's one of those things, right? Where it's there. And then if it's ever reciprocated, it is. And if it's not,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not. But at least if you put it out there, you can put that out of your mind and go, okay, you know, I've extended this olive branch.
Yeah. The ball's in their court.
Exactly,
I can't
right?
touch it. Yeah.
But then there's nothing else you can do. And really,
Yeah.
I think anything more than that, like trying to dig any deeper and go at, that's just would be counterproductive.
Well, and it's
Totally.
like the
Right,
ball's in their
you
court,
know?
but I'm playing a different game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm playing with
Yeah.
a birdie now, right? Like, it's
well,
just, it's different.
it's
Totally.
just you just leave it, right?
Yeah.
It's just a thing. If
different players, different game. Like, it's,
people are at a different point, and people get to places. Sometimes people come to the same places, but they get there at different times.
oh yeah,
Right?
Oh,
So-
fuck yeah.
So it might be one of those things too, where it's like, oh, this isn't a thing now, but you know, a couple years down the road, somebody goes through something, they see things differently. Life has a way of doing that to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Totally.
experience things, and all of a sudden, oh wait, now I look back on this thing, and oh yeah, okay, I don't really see that the same way as I did back then. Now
Yeah.
I want to, you know,
Yeah.
do whatever with
Yeah.
it, right?
You know, like to play it into the music thing. Like, do you guys know who Donald Fagen is?
No.
He was the lead singer of Steely Dan.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So in Steely Dan, he would say we would record it perfectly and then track it again, like a percent less perfect. He's like, I don't want it to be perfect. He's like, so we would play it until it was perfect, and then we would track it not perfect. But in Donald Fagen, in like his solo stuff, he's like, it was perfect, and he said Steely Dan did better. He's like, because you got to let go of that a little bit. He's like, who's it perfect
Yeah.
for? Like, who are you trying to impress? You know what I mean? Like, are you trying to make a, like, you know, it's like my posting on things on Instagram. Are you making a record for one person to be impressed, or are you making a record for everyone to listen to?
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's like where do your actions sit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all tough, man. And it just comes down to relationships.
Yeah.
Right? Like I miss the relationship. I
course.
miss like Kyle, their front man, big hockey guy. I'm a big hockey guy.
Yeah.
Like there's things I know right now 32-year-old Tyler can connect with all of them. And that's what I miss more than anything.
But do you need to?
I don't need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
not.
this is
I
the
don't
thing,
need
right? You
Yeah.
just you live your life.
just
and
do
try
it.
to keep being a better version
And-
of you.
and it's not a good-
Totally.
And then if you do ever cross paths again, you're presumably the best version of you you've ever
Yep.
been at that point, and therefore things would probably run better than they
Yeah.
did previously.
Yeah, totally.
That's all you can ask for,
That's
right?
all you can
Yep.
really do. You can't,
Yeah.
you can't control other people. You can't make other people see your way of things. You can't get to the control freak part. You can't make people excited about the things that you're excited about necessarily.
Yeah.
Even, you know what I mean? Your passion is not everyone else's
Totally.
passion. It's yours, right? So you got to there's a give and take if you want other people to be a part of anything that you are involved in and that
Yeah.
you're doing. And if you know you line up like I said, at the same point at approximately the right time, well then maybe that's how the magic happens, I guess, in
Yeah.
life with anything. And
But if
you
not,
don't,
then-
then
If it doesn't,
it's-
it doesn't.
then you compare notes later on down the road. And, oh, geez, you know, maybe if things had happened, if this had happened to me then and that happened to you here, well, maybe
Totally.
we would have crossed
Yeah.
paths at this point and things would have been what they would have been. But that's all speculation.
Yeah.
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 Just-
It's all fun
yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's cool though, because like if it's finite, like if you just put an end goal on it, then it's like then it gets demanding, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
I need this done by this day because then it's
Yeah.
over. But
Yeah.
the problem is, it's like we respond in a finite, but then we expect an infinite.
Yeah.
You know what I
Totally.
mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
I want this relationship to last forever, and we're gonna be in this band forever, and we're gonna build all these records together. But it's like, but in the immediate, I need it done now. And it's just like
Yeah.
those two don't. It's like back to that black and white story. It's just like it doesn't balance, right?
Well,
No.
and it's
you need one or the other.
Well, the other thing too is like the more you push for something, like what is it, the law of
Attraction.
Well, it's but the opposite of it. Where
Oh.
it's where you the more you desire something so strongly, you push it away from you, like almost like
I
a
know
law
what
of
you're talking about.
repulsion
Yeah.
of sorts, right? Where it's like if you're, I don't know, it's this weird thing where it's like you have to be. You can like be focused on your goals and be like pushing forward, but then sometimes like if you want something too bad and you get too I guess it's maybe
You
it's
get lost, though.
you fall into the
It's what
desperation
versus why. It's
side
what
of it,
versus
right?
why.
I guess is
Yeah.
maybe more of it. Like it's instead of that positive like drive that's pushing you forward, it's like this desperation that you need
Yeah.
this thing or whatever it is, and then that seems to just repel. It repels people,
Yeah.
like from you, like
Well,
for sure. I've noticed this personally and done somewhat of like not an experiment intentionally, but looking back on my life, it's like,
You
oh
can
man,
reflect,
yeah, the times when I wanted something so bad from somebody, that's the time that it just goes. The
It
time when you
disappears,
you got to let go of it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it's
Well, like what's fun is
Yeah.
like for me, like mine and Dave's relationship is, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want in on it? And he has the opportunity to say yes or no. But it's like for me, it's like I'm gonna do it anyways. So you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like you can add your flavor to it, or I'll never hold it against you. Is essentially what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
it's like, but that's important because like if I would sit there and I'm not actually taking shots at you, but it's like if
Yeah.
I would just sit there and wait for Dave, it's like then I would never be able to do my thing.
Right.
Because I'm sitting there waiting for this collaboration thing and the stars to
yeah.
align, right? Like
And do you think that younger Jesse would have been the same?
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Younger me, and the thing is I started my first YouTube channel in 2000 and either 11 or 12.
Crazy.
I just never actually posted on it.
Yeah.
But I've been meaning to. That's how long I've been looking at YouTube as like a vehicle for myself.
Right.
oh well, I don't feel nearly as bad then.
Oh, dude, and that's
For
where
not
I'm
having
like,
my own channel, up
and that's where
running
I'm
yet.
like, when I say like, just please post something, I'm like, I seriously mean it because I've been trying to convince people to be on my team. I've been trying to
Yeah.
convince people to help me. I've been trying to convince people of this vision I have in my head. And like, even Dave knows, man, like I could fire off 30 fucking ideas in a day, and I might be able to
Always got tons of ideas.
I might execute
Nice.
on all 30 of them once. I
Yeah.
might, but the ones that stick to the wall, it's like, it has to be for me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like you know, to your point about like recording and everything, it's like I've got templates for everything. It's like I'm singing today, I have a template. I just click on it and it opens up and I'm done because I don't want the in between because I know it'll just interfere with it all.
Totally.
And then on
Yeah,
top
that's
of
what I
that,
was saying before,
yeah, exactly. And it's like on top of that, if I want to invite Dave or yourself or Matt or someone into my studio or my space to like do something, I don't want to be troubleshooting and I don't want to be doing all that because then it's like now my internal monologue goes, well, Dave's thinking I just wasted his time,
Yeah.
this whole evening shot, and it's just like now the whole thing's gone. Right?
Yep.
It's-
You
it's
lose the
interesting,
spark.
man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I've made it comfortable for me that where not for other people, but I've made it comfortable for me where I can invite people into it, and that differentiating that made it like is very important because like you know when Kevin lived with me, it was like I made the space for what I thought was him and I,
Oh,
but neither of I used it.
Oh yeah.
Neither of us used it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it was like I built something with my vision in mind, but Kevin's vision was different. So then when I took that away and I just said, I'm going to build my space, you can come into it when you want to, I couldn't get Kevin out of it. And it was great.
Right.
Because it's like he sees my flow and he sees my kind of like exposure to
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where I'm trying to get with this, but like the creative side, man, it's good that you're full-fledged into it because you're going to be forced to choose how it works for you.
Totally.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And like to bring it all back around to kids, like, man, they really know how to flip your priorities for sure. And like not in a bad way at all, but it's like, okay, like I want to be a parent, check mark, right? If you want to go through the black and white checklist, right? Okay, being a parent, check it off, right? Being creative, check it off and stuff. But it's like, okay, like how are you going to stack them, and what are your subcategories, right? What are your subtexts and stuff? So it's really cool to be a parent and to be on the creative end of things and design stuff and just be that kind of person in general. And Dave, you can relate to this, and it's like, okay, well, like what am I really going to sink my time into that's like worth not every second, but like worth it for me to come out of being like, sweet. That takes time away from my kids, from my professional life, from my personal life, whatever it is. But I know now, like, it's worth me looking into.
Well, that's
you know?
yeah. I mean, I guess that's the thing of like having your time being forcibly limited.
Yeah.
That you have to be more conscientious of what you're using or what
Yeah.
you're doing with that time, right? What you are putting your
And that energy,
energies in.
right?
Yeah, because there's only so much. I mean, there's only so much for anybody in life, really.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
So many days, right?
You know.
And I
Literally.
and I want to pass
But-
that creativity off to my kids, right?
Yeah.
Because I think like I mean, I don't know, a cliche, but like the future's in the kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
and to see them, and I don't know how your daughter is, but like, man, my kids are drawing all the time, and they're Play-Doh, and it's like they're at that age, right? They're 4 and 2, so it's like anything with a rainbow on it's the coolest goddamn thing ever. Especially if they made it, and to watch that and be like, man, like that is wicked. And that's all I want. You want to talk about progression? There it is. Like fundamentally progressing them like that is like sweet. My job is done for the day. Right.
I want to record. I want to record my daughter an album.
Yeah.
Like she's actually a pretty good little singer.
How old is she?
She's 8.
Oh, nice.
Turning 9 in a
We should do a song with her, man.
Oh, dude! Like at some point, like I said to her mom once, like, oh, it'd be pretty cool if I could like record, like have her like a full album by the time she's like 13.
Yeah,
or
that's
something
cool.
like that. You know what I mean? Like going into middle school, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have an album.
You watch that
recorded already.
Angelina
You know what I mean?
Jordan, man. Like you don't find out until you find out. You know, like she started when she was 8.
Yeah.
Remember that on the live podcast we did? That young girl, she was singing on TikTok, and she was just like freaky good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she started when she was 8.
Yeah.
You just need an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dude, that'd be sick.
That would be really cool. But I mean, that's the benefit of me like having the recording knowledge, right? It's like, okay, I mean, this is totally doable. As soon as she's got like the interest in like really pursuing it, like then it's be like, yeah, let's do this.
Maybe that's Dave's claim to fame.
Yes. Is she kind of following you musically? Does she like the stuff that you're interested in?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. She
Even
totally
better.
does. Yeah.
She's a little metalhead.
Oh, dude, like I was so proud one morning. Oh, this is horrible. I was so proud one morning when I was driving her to school, and she said, "Can you put on the Cherry Pie song?"
Nice, really? Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
so
my
funny.
kid like a fucking warrant.
I love that.
Amazing.
Shit
I love
like
that.
Oh yeah, no, like we're driving around, we listen to all that symphonic like chick singer metal stuff
Yeah.
that I like.
What is that band?
She loves it. There's a few like Within Temptation or Amaranth or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. Like
Amaranth is what I was thinking.
she's been exposed to a ton of that stuff. Tons and tons and tons and tons.
Yeah.
So yeah, she for her like a girl singing over like heavy guitars and stuff, it's like I'm making sure that's a normal thing
Yes.
for her
Good.
in her
Yeah.
mind. That it's
Good.
like, oh yeah, that's what music is. I mean, her mom listens to lots of pop and indie stuff and some rock. Still, she used to listen to metal. I don't know if she does anymore, but you know what I mean. So she gets like that side of things too, for sure. But like, but yeah, when she's with me, it's all that all the
dude.
hard rock metal stuff, and yeah,
That's so awesome.
Lots of
Do you remember
female-fronted stuff.
do you remember being around people doing that to you?
Oh, dude, like I say to this day, like my like all that 80s shit, like that was my stepdad and my uncle that were one of my stepdad's favorite band was Aerosmith. My uncle's favorite band was Guns N' Roses.
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
You know what I
Perfect.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then like they listened to Metallica and Iron Maiden and like all like I was introduced to all of that stuff. And my mom listened to country, which is funny because I ended up being in a country band for a little while, little piece of time there. But yeah, the funny thing is like some of the stuff we were doing in that band, like any of that like 90s country stuff, I grew up on that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With like in the morning, my mom's listening to the country music station, so I'm
Out east, that was so popular.
Oh,
too.
dude, like Garth Brooks and Shania Twain,
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff. Like, I mean, I can sing most of those songs, like Alan Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know all of that stuff, like inside and out. I grew up with it. But then at the same time, like I said, I was also Aerosmith, Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses, Metallica,
Totally.
Maiden, all of that
Yep.
stuff, right? So that totally, absolutely formed like how I like the music that I listen to, and like it has to. I mean, God, I like Bon Jovi. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I remember I remember them buying like when Keep the Faith came out.
Yeah.
I remember them.
You know what's a
buying that one.
dope? You know what's some of my favorite guitar tone is the beginning of that "Have a Nice Day." It's
yeah.
It's
Okay,
a
yeah.
12-string telly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and it's just like played through this like semi-clean tone. It's just like it's just my favorite fucking tone.
Really?
Like, and
I
it's like
can't-
it's
I
not
can't-
tone that I
can't
would
picture it
pick.
in my
Yeah.
head, but yeah.
It's not even tone that I would pick, but it's just like something about it, man. I'm just like, fuck, that sounds so good.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that like it's like real acoustic drums that come in, it's just like there's something about it, man. Just that intro, I'm just like,
Dude,
fuck.
I can't wait for you to be a dad, because that's like
That's the thing. Yeah, you expose your
Yeah.
kids to
You
all
know
the
what?
music you listen
Your
to.
kids become your best friends because like my wife, she is into like she appreciates the hardcore scene that I'm into and like Knocked Loose, Counterparts, Alexis on
okay,
Fire, all
yeah,
those
yeah.
guys, right? Crowd killing pretty much.
yeah.
But she's more pop, right? She's
Sure,
folk
yeah.
and stuff. So I don't have anybody that's like in my immediate grasp to be like, yo, check this out.
Oh, bro,
Yeah.
start
Check
texting
this
me.
out. Check
Start
this out.
texting
I
me.
will. But I'm like, hey, Bradley.
Yeah. So
Listen
your
to
kids.
this. And
Oh,
she's like,
yeah.
"Dad, this is
Oh,
cool."
yeah.
I'm
How-
like, yes, it is.
How old are your kids?
4 and 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So they're
wow.
still.
They're young.
Yeah,
They're
you just
impressionable
wait.
right
You just
now,
wait. Yeah,
right?
just keep doing that. Like that's all I did.
Yeah.
Whenever you're driving around, man, you
Yeah.
just put on your tunes in the car. Like
It's awesome.
We weren't listening to Wheels on the Bus, man. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was whatever.
I remember grade 2, man, my mom driving to me to school and we're listening to Roadhouse Blues by the Doors and her being like, you're not allowed to sing the part about waking up and having a beer for breakfast. She's like, you're not allowed to sing that at school. Otherwise, we're going to quit listening to it. And I was like, deal. Like, I'll listen to this and not talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was grade 2, man. That was like one of my core memories.
And then
Oh,
you
nice.
establish like this exclusive club with your parents.
Yeah. It's
right?
like when we drive
Nobody's
in the
allowed
caddy,
in.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we're on the opposite side of it.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, come here.
I never even thought about this. So I got a story.
damn.
So when I was like 13, I shouldn't even say age because someone's gonna get upset. Well, there was an age where my like projectors like just became a thing, like house projectors.
Oh yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you like have like a theater or whatever. And so my dad saw my uncles, because my uncle's like fairly wealthy, and my dad went like, oh man, like when these are on sale, I'm gonna get one. And so he did. He bought one and the screen and whatever. He got a deal on it. And my dad and I drank a case of beer and watched a live Def Leppard concert.
Dude.
And that was a 100% for
memory.
my dad.
Yeah.
But I watch that concert all the time now.
Yeah.
You
You
know
said
what I mean?
you're 13. You were.
I was 13.
The statute of limitations. You're fine.
Oh, jeez. Okay, how could you get in trouble for that? Now,
That's right.
Drinking underage.
Well, because someone's gonna be like,
Years
your
ago.
dad gave you booze at 13.
Oh, whatever.
I
Gives a
know.
shit.
I don't. Yeah. But anyway. But anyway, yeah. No, we watched. It was live in Denver, Colorado, in 1987, and I still watch that video all the time.
Oh, yeah.
All the fucking time, man. That is such a hard memory for, like,
Yeah.
such a great memory for me. It's just like I'll never forget. It was a 24 pack of Canadians. We sat on my fucking
Wicked.
my rug floor, man, and I drank it. And I remember being like, yeah, this ain't too bad. And then my buddy James came over and we watched Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, and I was fucking wasted. I was like, bro, like I think I had like 4 of these or something. You know what I mean? Like,
That's awesome.
This is good.
yeah,
That's
but it's just like,
awesome.
yeah, man, that concert will ever live in my head. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've
Well, that's
never.
it, man. Like the stuff that you pick up when you're young,
Yeah.
like it sticks with you forever.
For
so,
real.
yeah, whatever your kids are listening to, it's
It's
going to
crazy.
imprint in there.
Well, I think that's more of a
somewhere.
reason to be proud of what you do.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
For sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because like if you weren't proud of the music you listen to, and then you showed your kid, it's like they're not going to be proud of it either.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, other than me, like my daughter's heard my stuff more than any other human on
Oh, I
the
bet.
planet because
For
I'm
sure.
always playing it, listening to mixes in the car.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's heard those songs so many times.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it clicks, and like the impressions and like the deep kind of memories and stuff that you're implanting in her, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Then next thing you know, she's like, I like this sound of this album better, or like, Dad, the guitar sounds better in this one than that one. And then she's picking up on like
Oh, someday that would be
vibes
crazy.
that you're
Yeah.
shooting off, right? And it's like
Yeah.
this natural, crazy caveman thing of
Oh,
like
yeah.
carbon copies and stuff, and it's just so cool.
You know what? Even past that though, like she's probably gonna go, Dad, like I know that you like how this sounds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
she's gonna be
yeah.
like, she's gonna go, I empathize with you in this
I
moment.
guess when she's older, like listening to her, like finding music on her own because
Yeah.
she's not at that stage yet, right? Like she's, but yeah.
Can you imagine
few
the day where she
years,
comes
man.
home and she goes, Dad, I found something.
Yeah, listen to this.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be like,
Yeah.
that will be a.
There's
crazy
nothing
day.
better than like, even talking about us as equals, like
Yeah.
having a friend group and being like, guys, check this out. Look what I found. And everybody digging it.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling ever,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Community is the best feeling
Well,
ever.
that's- Yeah, that I mean,
Like you sending me that TikTok, it was like we went from like I've known you on and off for like maybe 8 years. I
Yeah.
think working with your band and stuff. We've had a couple dozen conversations, but it's like you sending me that thing and being like, yeah, I don't even think there was context. It was just like, check out these guitar players, and I was like, fuck, this is nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, please send me these all the time. Like, it's
And
just like-
community is awesome, right? And then that relationship's established, and then here we go. And to do that with a kid,
Totally.
your kid would, dude, I can't
yeah.
wait.
Right?
I cannot
Right?
wait. You
I know,
know?
it's the way your mind changes when you're once you have
Yeah.
a kid, that you start like all
Yeah.
these things are things that you think in your head.
Totally.
Oh yeah, but man, the whole community thing, like that's That's
what this is about.
Yeah, it's what this is about. I talk about this with everybody that I come in contact with now. It's like the whole thing is like people are so starved for connection that
Yeah.
we want to rebuild some sort of community with each other. Like
Totally.
I mean, even just doing this, like, and bringing people in, like, it's kind of it's kind of changing how.
Well, you've had more people in your house in the last 4 or 5 months than you've had since you moved in.
Oh yeah, in the last 4 years, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. Like,
Yep.
I was
And
sitting
do
here
something
alone
you
for
enjoy,
years. Yeah,
right?
exactly. And now it's like, bringing people in. More people want to come in. More people want to be here and do this thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's really cool, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it kind of connects you with people that you wouldn't like. Like, I know lots of people from the store, obviously, right? But doing something like this, it makes more of a.
It changes your motive too. Like I look for people to bring here in a different light. Because it's like, I might not like talking to you, but I could sure find you interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
now it's like again to rewiring that brain. I'm not looking for the same people anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you and I have a lot of conversation. We can go back and forward lots. Like you might be someone worth sitting in front of and talking to for an hour and a half, 2 hours. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like it's just doing it has changed
yeah.
For sure.
the net that I cast. Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we all just want to build connections out.
Yeah.
And like people are starved for it. So
Totally.
you want it in real life, but if you can't have it in real life, I mean, that's the whole thing. I think why podcasts are popular.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest,
More popular than music in some cases.
Well, it's because you get to be a part of a conversation between people that
Yeah.
if you're like, man, like, and I know this now from like personal experience. Like, I was always a bit of a loner, and I was always an introvert. Like, I was good spending lots of time alone.
Yep.
But I spent so much time alone, like for like several years now, up until recently, that it like. I could really empathize with the whole idea of like why you could get drawn into something online,
Yeah.
because for me, like sitting and like just putting a podcast on while I was doing something in the house made it seem like, I have company, I have people around me, right? Like, I mean, when like my daughter's not around, if it's just me, it's just me, and
Yeah.
it breaks the isolation, and it gives you this this sense of like I said, you get to listen in on a conversation, you get to be a part of the thing. It makes you feel like you're there
Yeah.
to some degree,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it almost it's not a perfect substitute, but it's like it soothes that part of your mind.
It's like
Yes.
a small,
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
like
Right.
an endorphin release.
Like it gives
like
you just
the same serotonin you'd feel from, or whatever the hormone is that you feel from like community and people. It's like you get like a taste of it.
you get just that little hit, just enough to kind of
Just chill
break
you out.
it and get you through, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's the best. Like it's just like to sit like this, whether podcasting or not, is just the best. And to talk, right?
Yeah.
Music, kids, life, what growing up, whatever, right? It's so wicked.
Yeah.
And yeah, like pandemic obviously really screwed that up.
Yeah.
But the older you get too, you realize like, man, that's the most important thing, at least to me at the end of the day, is like
Yep.
who am I able to reach out to through like a quick text message, a phone call, whatever, that I know will respond back to me. And like you said, it like releases something. You're like, oh, I'm being taken care of. Or like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
taking care of
well,
somebody.
you have a connection in
right?
some way,
And it's bang, right? And that's, to like
Yep.
bring it back to the Youngbloods thing a little bit. Like that's where I'm like, the older I get, the more I'm like, I could give a shit about everything else. It's the connections, right? And with
Yeah.
everything in the past too, high school friendships, whatever, like Ryland and I were really close at one point, Ryland Morans, and like we drifted apart. And it's just like every little connection that I've ever had that like drifted apart, if I had that same relationship today, man, I would be like this is really important to me,
Yeah.
and I would like to communicate that and be like, is it important to you? If it's important to both of us, like you guys right here, let's keep it going,
Yeah.
right? And that's the best feeling ever when you're
For
on the same
sure.
page.
You know what? You go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the only thing with that though is that there are sometimes seasons of
Oh sure,
right, like you run through like I had a friend once who said something to me, and honestly, like I've kept track of it a little bit, like through my life, and it was basically that you kind of run through like 7-year-ish cycles with like friend groups and with like
Oh, interesting.
relationships and
Yeah.
things like that, and of course there's like overlap, like as people come into your life or whatever, but like when he told me that, I was 18 at the time, and this is a guy that was like 30, I think, at this point. Like, so he'd seen a little bit more, right? And I remember him talking about that and thinking, oh, okay, interesting idea, but it didn't really register. But then I ran through he was in a band with me. I ran through about a 7-year cycle with him.
Sure.
And I've noticed it with kind of like certain other people, like some longer, some shorter, right? But like there seems to be almost this, and it's not necessarily. It occurred to me then that it's not the other people that like are coming into your life, but it's got to be you and how you change, right? And how you develop, and then what you attract and what you want to be around, and the people that want to be around you. That sort of does change as those people develop. So
right,
just something that I started kind of. From time to time, it would cross my mind again. Like as there's, I'm at a point of change in my life, right? Some inflection point where it's like I'm going from this thing to that thing, and I'll be damned if it isn't sort of close.
For sure.
From what I've noticed.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like, yeah, these things sort of run in. So, in saying that, it kind of allows you to go, well, I guess maybe certain people are only going to be in my life for certain times.
Right.
Right? And that's okay.
It relieves some pressure.
Right? Because then it's not like anybody failed in a thing this way or that way. It's almost more of a like, okay, well, we all kind of had our time together. And I've noticed it with like kind of groups of people too, where it's not even just like a one-on-one thing, but like almost like small groups that kind of form like these clusters of social whatever. And they sort of stick together. It's really tight, and then it kind of fails. And then if you kind of measure, like, oh, when did we all kind of meet, and when did we all kind of stop hanging out?
Interesting.
It's not that far off.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of a little
Crazy.
bit right there.
That's interesting.
So
That
I don't
is
know.
crazy.
Take it for what you will, but
but
even if it's not set to a 7-year timeline, it's almost like
Whatever your cycle is.
whatever
right?
that cycle is, and your development, and obviously I think that's probably going to change from person to person depending
Totally.
on where you are on your journey and your mental state and what's occurred and what hasn't. You know what you've been through, what you haven't been through yet. But yeah, I mean. So I guess what I'm saying is it's maybe it's not a bad thing necessarily if people fall out. It's just, well, that was just the time we had, and obviously you turned into this person, I turned into that person.
nobody's wrong.
Nobody's right. Nobody's really wrong here. It's just but if I guess the thing is if you can keep everything where it's somewhat amicable, that it's as you cross paths and interweave, that it's.
But
to that
Totally.
it's okay when you do, but
to that point though, like I've had friendships where it's like I'm so focused on keeping the friendship that I don't spend any time on myself. And then when all of a sudden it's like my true new self shows through, they're like, whoa, what happened?
Dude, that's the thing. Like I learned that with like relationships.
Yeah.
Analyzing the whole like rise and fall of my marriage there, right?
Yeah.
And because it was a 14-year run from start to finish, right? And you better believe we were different people at the end of that than we were at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like so different that it was like incompatible by the end. Really. Yeah.
And in hindsight, you can appreciate that probably.
Yeah.
Right?
So and that's the thing. But like when you're doing that, as you're changing, then you start looking at the other people. It's like kind of like what you were saying there. Like wait a minute. Like I'm a different person now. You don't appreciate this thing that. And that
all this work and effort sometimes,
and
right?
That happens with friends. It happens with romantic relationships. It happens with.
It happens with yourself.
Man.
It happens with yourself. Like how often you're like, I just learned like this. It was the first time I played fast guitar. I played my Sharona guitar solo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? First time ever in my life I've been able to play it, and it was like, okay, I learned it. I just kind of like moved on.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
It was like, what is that? And it was like, oh, because I'm holding myself to a standard that is outside of what I truly appreciate. And what I truly appreciated was giving myself the time and forgiving myself until I could play it right.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And then so because I had not learned that before, I had basically provided myself with like, okay, I'm good at this, and I'm going to go find other people that I can utilize for that. And that's our relationship. Yeah. And once that changed, it was like I remember the first time I played kind of fast guitar, and the guitar player in my band at the time went, "Whoa! You trying to take my job?" And it was like, "You're not excited for me?" Yeah. And it was like, "Oh, we're starting to change." And then it just started to rotate. And it's like now it's like I will play guitar and I will record my own stuff. And if you want to come over and post it on my page, man, fuck yeah. But if not, I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like it's this balance of like I'm doing it for myself, but not selfishly. I'm doing it so that I don't have problems about pinning it against you later.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep,
You know
totally.
what I mean?
But yeah, no, it's just about like I said, just accepting that you're going to move at a certain pace.
Yep.
Others are going to move at a certain pace, and the times where it works together and intertwines is great, and unfortunately sometimes it's going to go away, you know. But yeah, it is almost, in some ways, it's relieving when you realize that.
Yeah.
you
Totally.
know,
I
that
think
it's-
it bleeds into like every aspect. Once again, coming all the way back around to what we were talking about at the beginning, like being so control focused and being hypersensitive and tunnel visioned into being a perfectionist or getting things done or a completionist or whatever. When you finally figure out like things don't have to be a certain way all the time in a 24-hour time period. Relationships don't have to stick around forever, like you were saying. You don't have to put in this much work because there's a good chance that it's not going to end up the way that you want. When you find out that, or when you figure out that that's just like, you just need to live your life, like you've been saying, man, like you start sleeping better and you start eating better and you're like mentally, you're like happier. And if you're into, vibes and environments and auras and stuff, like you are a better person to be around. And then we've all experienced the other side of that, where we've been around people like that and you're like, what happened? Did you like quit drinking or something? Like, what are you doing? Oh no, I just like, fundamentally, mentally, whatever, I've just changed. And you're like, wow, like I can tell.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you attract more people in. I mean, there's I guess there's some scientific thing to this. They say the heart emanates like a magnetic field, right?
Yep.
And when you're like feeling like the sensation of like love and something really positive like that, it actually like expands how far that
Interesting.
field is.
Yep.
But it contracts as you feel more.
Right. You turn into the Grinch.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
almost like the heart grows and shrinks to some degree but for like, what will, I guess it must be perceptible to us at some subconscious level.
Yeah.
Because like when you're in, and that it makes sense. Like whenever you're in a really good state, you draw more people to you, and you draw like I've noticed it. Like when I'm miserable, people go, like I was saying before, that when I'm miserable and I really, really want, like the, craving that, having someone around for whatever reason, it's not there,
Yeah.
But when you work on yourself, you feel better, you start feeling good, all of a sudden it's like your circle grows around you, right? And then you attract more,
And your community grows.
I think that's
grows,
like,
and then it just expands on itself.
I think there's like a part of like what actually does the community mean, and like what actually is the intention of what I am. Because like say like if I'm like, hey man, like I'm in this situation, I have this opportunity, I just need to record this song, and I'm putting all my eggs in Dave's basket, like that's almost unfair to Dave.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like until I either understand that and can express that, or B, can mitigate that on my own, and I'm inviting Dave in for his taste, it's like it's hard to appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like even in mine and Dave's relationship, there has been times where we could not have this relationship.
Right.
Oh, like in the time we've known each other.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it's like now
Absolutely,
it's like we could hang out 3, 4, 5 times a week, and aside from running out of things to talk about, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, but you know what? There's that whole like at different points at different times,
Different strokes, right?
and,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
being like, because we weren't on the same, like when we met, like
I was a cocky fucking 18-year-old, and he was trying to be a manager, and it's just like the two clash.
well,
it is what
yeah.
it is.
Well, and I was like married, had just having a newborn kid,
and I was
you know what I
single,
mean?
in my first rock band, working at a bar. Like it's just the two
we were
clash.
we
It
were
was what
we
it
were at
was.
different points. It wasn't gonna line up for the way our lives were, right? Obviously, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, all the rest were two completely different fucking worlds.
Yep.
Right?
How many years ago was that?
I mean, I've been at the store for coming up 11, so I don't know whenever you started there.
So I've been working. So the last telecommunication company was March, would have been 3 years, and then 2 years, and then that's 7 years.
7 years. There you go.
Look at that.
Congratulations.
Look at
But
that.
see now,
Your
but
point
originally
anniversary.
validated his
we were
point.
somewhere else, but now
Yeah.
at this juncture, we've lined up, and it's
Mm-hmm. But then the
Oh,
same thing, it's
yeah.
like the lesson to me is like Dave had his thing going on that I could be a part of, but I could also not ever have known about, and it still would have happened. I have my thing going on that Dave can and has been a part of, which, by the way, 8,000 subs as of right now.
Oh, you guys got it. Hey, congratulations.
As of right now, yeah. My mom texted me and told me we're at 8,000 subs. So.
Thanks, Mom.
Dave and I did a video the other week, and it's at like, it's weird, man. I don't want this to sound like I'm like bragging or anything. It freaks me out. It's like 60,000 from like a week or so ago. Let me find this one. This chick could sing more set. You got to come over and do that 56,000.
Oh my goodness.
9 days ago. It's so strange.
That's
man.
okay. It's just 56.
It's just like
it's not 60 though.
It's crazy that like that many people have like seen song.
And to think
strange?
about how
You know
like
what I
a
mean?
view
Like-
works, like it's not just one dude watching it 56,000 times.
Yeah.
It has to be different.
and it has to be for a certain allotted period of time.
Yeah.
They actually have to be on the screen. Like there's a lot of that goes into it for it to be 60,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
That's
you, bro.
wicked.
It's interesting. It's just a weird thing.
You got to
Just
come
even
over.
at that level.
You got to come over and do a reaction sometime.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
What I want to start getting into, and you can get into this as much or as little as you want to,
Yeah.
is like once a month I want to pick like one project to be like, we're doing a reaction, we're doing a breakdown, and we're gonna show you exactly what's going on.
Oh, cool.
So where it's like, here's like this dope song, and it's like a huge hit. It might not even be my favorite song, but I'm gonna show you about the Nashville charting system that they chose. Like, why did it go?
Oh, cool.
1-4-5 to a dissonant 7 instead of just a minor 7?
Yeah.
Like, why did they do that? Or like at this section, it's like you're anticipating a key change, but then they don't. Or you're not anticipating it, and they do it, and like this is why, and this is what it would look like, right? Like I want to like in depth get into it, and I almost want to invite like a new person or new voice all the time, right?
Yeah, because then you have opinions, right? And obviously like gear is gear. Chord progressions are, there's no opinions on that per se, like how these work, but it would be cool to have people in the industry, maybe people who aren't even in the industry, and to like kind of break it down and teach them from a different perspective.
Well,
that would be super
Even
cool.
outside of that though, it's just I want you to go home and be like, I can make that video.
Oh, interesting.
And then it's like, now I made that video, I'm gonna put
Yeah.
mine out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because it's like, how often do I bug you? Like, hey man, let's just put up a video. Let's just put up a video. Let's just put up a video. It's just like you just gotta put up a video.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like my first video, man. I woke up at 6. I got myself as stoned as possible so I could sit in front of the camera, and it was a Slash Miles Kennedy release. And I was like, just sitting there. I was like, I don't even know what to talk about, and I just posted it, and I was like, I was like, well, that wasn't that scary. I was like, okay, what's next? And then I just started doing it.
Oh man, see, that sounds like a dream. I have two aspirations, of doing YouTube videos and whatever, but I never pull the trigger.
Why not?
I know.
I think about it every day.
Me
I'm
too.
like, oh,
I
man, this
need to
sounds
do
awesome.
my own, but I just haven't.
Yeah,
done it yet.
I want to do podcasts. I want to do YouTube videos, but then when I have free time, I'm like, maybe not.
See, and that's something I've really had to learn, because I had to move my light, because my light used to make me anxious and panicky.
Oh,
I've had to change the colors I use because they used to make me anxious and panicky.
Interesting.
I've had to change the position where my desk sits against my window because it used to make me tired. And I wear shoes now when I do my videos because I'm less tired.
Whoa.
So I've very much learned, but like I can do like 7-8 videos a day now. No problem.
Have you?
Yep.
Wow, good for you.
I don't put them all out in the same day, but
Of
yeah.
course not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just like, you break down those barriers. It's like recording an album. Like I could have all the thoughts and songs for an album, but if I have no gumption, if I have no physical
if you
capacity, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But then the same thing, it's like where does it's like the chicken or the egg? It's like you just got to do the thing. Does it have to be perfect?
Yeah.
No. Does it have to be good? Probably,
Hopefully,
to an extent.
yeah.
Because like Kevin says, like you have to convince people to be willing to sit through it,
Yep.
but you still have to do it.
Yeah.
You still
Yeah.
have to do it to find out if people like it or not, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get more people to do stuff.
I think that camera's dead.
They're all dead.
Oh, they're all dead.
All the cameras are dead, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, are they really?
Well, the memory cards have run out, or all kinds of shit.
Oh, so we've just been running audio for the.
We've just
last
been running audio for like
That's
10
fun.
minutes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. All right.
It's good.
Interesting.
It happens all the time, bro.
Oh, okay.
That's why we need that switcher.
Yeah.
But that's
Okay.
not Ty's problem.
Hey man, if it's your problem, it's my problem.
We could
You know
do.
what I'm
I
saying?
mean, are you on a timeline tonight? We're almost at 2
Nope.
hours.
Nope.
You're free.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because I will have to get out of here eventually.
I was gonna say I might pull the pin here soon.
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do a part 2
I'm a little
eventually.
drowsy, but
Yeah.
So, what kind of YouTube videos do you want to do?
Okay. Have you heard of the company Sheet Happens Publishing?
No.
Okay, so Sheet Happens Publishing, if I have my history right, was started by Protest the Heroes guitar players, Luke and Tim.
Okay.
And what they wanted to do, like I said, if I'm getting it right, is they just wanted proper tablature, right? They wanted proper songbooks from the artists themselves, right?
Oh, okay.
So they
Sure.
started She Happens, and they started, I believe, with Protest albums. I can't remember which one. and then a handful of artists join, and now it's like this big thing. They've got a warehouse, and what you can do is they've got a catalog, and the catalog is growing like every week. They've got new bands coming on, and I believe the bands come to them.
Okay.
And they go, yeah, we want to, like some bands, I'm a big Guitar Pro freak, and lots of other bands, like that's how they write everything, right? They do it all MIDI, so you can see it all out, and then they're like, well, why don't we monetize this, right? So that's kind of what it's like. So what this company does is they will print off physical books that you can order, and it ships from Ontario, and it's beautiful. Like everything is printed, it's beautifully printed. The binding is nice. It's not just some cheap print, right? But then you get the PDF version of it as well, and you get the guitar profiles.
Oh, cool.
And like, if you do the digital edition of everything, it's like $28 plus tax. If you do the physical after shipping and stuff, it's like $60. So a lot of artists that I follow and I really appreciate, and because of the perfectionism in me, I want to know exactly how they play it, right?
Okay,
and like if I go onto a website and I'm like, okay, that's great, but is it how they play it?
Yeah.
Because if it's
I'm
not,
like that too.
I want to know how they play it.
yeah.
You know, if you're hitting a if you're hitting a certain note structure on one string, is that how they're playing it, or are they going to string
I'm
up?
the exact same.
right?
Oh,
I'm the
okay,
exact
You know,
same.
yeah, it's gonna sound exactly the same.
No,
but
it
it's
doesn't.
not gonna
No, it
play
doesn't.
the same.
No, it doesn't,
Yeah.
man. I like an A note on a
I
high
guess
A
that's
note
true.
on a D and
Yeah.
and then like a lower position, but the same A note on a G string sounds different.
Right, your frequency is a little
Sounds
bit different,
Oh,
right?
dude, I tracked every song, like the bass tracks, all done on like just the low E.
Yeah,
That
because
on
you
all my
appreciate it
songs.
more, right?
Because just the tone of it. I mean, I made playing some of the stuff weird,
Yeah.
but it sounded better.
yeah.
Just like
Yeah, and I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, if
But
you hit your
it-
12th fret on the E, a 7th fret on the A, right? Like they do
They
sound
sound
different.
different.
They do sound
like
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, like I have a stack of them, right? I've
Yeah.
got just stacks of progressive metal stuff and whatever, and I want to be able to do YouTube series where I play the whole album, and I would break it up song per video, right?
Yeah.
But play it exactly how it's supposed to be played.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Right?
God, really? What's
And,
your
like-
brain space on that like?
What do you mean?
Because I've been. You want to know what my first YouTube video idea was?
Yeah.
I wanted to do covers of songs the way the band did it.
Yes, that's exactly
so,
what I want to
if
do.
I was Taylor Hawkins, rest in peace. If I was Taylor
Yes.
Hawkins and I was playing drums, I was also singing the harmonies in the recording.
Oh, cool. So
You know
like
what I mean?
literally like if you took his spot that show
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah,
That's
that's
you
what
were
I
doing.
wanted to do.
Cool.
And I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to be done right. I wanted it
Yes.
to look right. I was even talking to Mike about like bringing in different drum kits and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh,
That's
man.
cool.
Also,
Oh,
this is
man.
a while ago. You were.
This was like I said, 2012, 2013.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do is like, and I know some people go really out there and they will show the tab on the bottom. I think there's licensing issues, copyright issues. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do that unless you partnered with Sheet Happens
Yeah.
because they do, like some of the dudes that work with them and some of the people that like are just in their circle, you can tell the videos that they're putting out because they've got an attachment to them and like the quality's great, the playthrough is fantastic, and it's like that's what I want to do,
Yeah.
right? That's totally what I want to
Okay.
do, whether you're affiliated with them or not,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, because I'm always just like you guys, I'm always watching covers all the time, and I'm watching them to appreciate them, but I'm going like,
It's a learning session.
I wouldn't have played it like that, or like, oh, did Luke
Or-
play it like that?
Or like I'm
I
looking
don't
at
know.
hand position and being
Yeah.
like, oh, like your thumb's that high, like, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want to do. Just like
Okay.
an album all the way through. Here's Protest the Heroes Fortress. It's 10 songs, and track one's Blood Meat. That's the video. It plays exactly and like rhythm and lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like absolutely get into it because
Yeah.
the book comes with everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why not?
Yeah,
I think that'd be
Oh.
dope.
And
Shout
you-
out
you
Sheet
have-
Happens, by the way.
You
There
have
you
bias
go.
effects too, right? that you
No,
that-
I don't.
Oh, what do you use?
I don't use anything right
What?
now. Yeah.
Have you ever played with
Dude,
bias?
I have my my rig, if you want to call it that, because I haven't played a show with a band since 2017.
Yeah.
So I use a Spark, and that's it.
Nice.
Okay.
That's
Nice.
all I've got.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm borrowing a patch cord from somebody right now, so I feel you.
Woo!
I
Yeah,
feel ya.
you're getting old. Yeah.
yeah. No, it is what it is, man. It's just like, but like bias effects is fucking cool. That's the only reason why I started playing guitar again. Because the same thing, it's just like it can be 5:45 in the morning. I can wake up, I can have my coffee and headphones on, and I can have a full AC/DC concert, and no one else in the house can
Oh,
hear it.
amazing. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
man.
And it's just like I
Yeah.
can have all the tone I want. and
Oh,
everything.
dude, that's why.
That's why you do this, right?
Kemper, like I don't. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't
Kemper's a
run through
dream
An amp,
for sure.
like a
Yeah.
real amp. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to like sit here and record all that stuff in this little space. You know, if I was miking up a 412 cab and
Seriously.
Totally.
you
I
know
try
what
to
I mean?
crank
Like,
it, and
Yeah, it wouldn't be happening here.
Yeah.
No.
That's for sure.
And I think like I like the podcast route. Like I like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I've always appreciated, like you said, that community feel of the open conversation.
Yeah.
Because you just feel like you're in there.
Yeah, you just
right?
talk, right?
And
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
hearing
that
somebody
picture
talk.
of that dude standing by the billboard, and it's like all these people getting groceries, and he's like there with them, and it's like, this is what a podcast is like, and it totally is, right?
It's fun, right?
You have nothing to do with them, but you have everything to do with them in
But
that
you
hour and a
get you
half.
get a little piece of somebody else's life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, you get just a little like, oh, you're involved in this, and when it's not all like, formulated and structured in like an interview style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it. I mean, those are great for their own
They have a
reasons.
purpose.
They have a purpose
Yep.
and they have a place. But this is a whole different thing where people just
I love it.
they-
Come here and be yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
What do you guys have down the pipe?
For
I don't know.
I
Probably
have a
stuff.
lot going on.
I'm sure.
bro. I'm trying really hard. Like, I mean, 2 hours in, I can talk about whatever I want at this point. I've tried, man. I've tried my hand at like the career thing. I've tried a few different fields. I've done all that. It's like since I was 16, I started my first business. 15 when I started my first business. And it's just like for me, it's like I'm okay knowing that I tried that and it didn't work for
Yeah.
me. But my girlfriend's younger than me. She's 8 years younger than me, and she's got so many opportunities right now. And so it's just like I'm doing everything I can to make sure that she feels empowered to take her opportunities.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't want to be the guy that's like I'm turning 30 this year. Not that it's a bad thing; it's a great thing. It's just like I don't want to be like, nope, like I'm still the man. I'm the guy in charge. Like fuck that shit. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
she can do
Get
that.
out the window. Yeah.
And so for me, it's like the reactions thing was fun. I have a blast with it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting started on. I'm partnering with a friend of mine from California that I met through YouTube and Patreon, and she went to like film school essentially.
Cool.
And we're gonna do like microphone breakdowns, but like in application settings. So it's like here's
nice.
here's 4 different ways to mic an acoustic guitar, and here's
Yeah.
the benefits, the pros and the cons, the microphones we use, like all that shit, right? So I'm gonna do one of those once a month. I got covers coming out. I'm trying to do like the TikTok covers thing. I'm trying to include more people. I'm trying to do. Dave and I are gonna do an original
Nice.
podcast. What else we got going on? I'm thinking about taking vocal lessons.
Hey man. Thinking about buying a boat at this point, I'm sure.
No.
No,
It's
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's super interesting, and it's just like it's funny that the more and more isolated, quote unquote, I try to make myself, and the more independent I make myself, the more opportunity I have to invite people into it, which is good and bad. Because like that video that you saw, like
Yeah.
there's incredible opportunities out there, but it's like in the same breath, it's like I also have to know. I have to be careful how I say things because like I appreciate people coming to me on Instagram, people coming to me on Twitter and Facebook and being like, hey man, like I found you on YouTube and it's cool to be friends here. Can I make requests here?
Oh,
and then it's like,
yeah.
sure, I'll do it tonight. And it's like now that's another commitment
Yes.
that I'm making just because I want the friendship.
Yes.
And it's like that the motive is different, right? So it's like it's a whole new challenge for me to still want to be excited and try to find like passion and enlightenment and like a drive, I guess.
Yeah.
But still continue forward on that. Because I mean, like reactions. I feel like I've talked about the same thing 50 billion different times.
Yeah.
And it's like I still get excited because I like live music, but it's like for me, I still need to grow.
For sure.
I still have energy. And it's like now that I've gotten the tough part is now that the process has gotten easy. The brain thing is challenging. So now it's like I can press play and do the reaction video, but my brain is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm not concerned about the process.
Yeah.
So it's like I almost need another challenge just to keep myself like straight, right?
Interesting.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you personally? Do you have anything creative going on?
Just the
Dave did an album.
Yeah, I got 12 songs like that are all like
We'll play
Ready.
one for you after this.
mixed
You'll like
and
it.
mastered and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
I just keep going back and retweaking little things
you'll
here,
do it forever, man.
right?
Yep.
Exactly. So, that's been like the biggest thing that I've been doing, like for
Nice.
a creative endeavor.
And it's all you.
It's all
There's a vocalist.
There's
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend, female vocalist
Nice.
that did all the vocals on it.
Sweet.
So, but I programmed the drums, played the guitar,
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
bass. There's like synths and some
Oh, man.
piano. And
you
keys
learned some
parts.
like how to play piano.
I learned
a
to
little bit,
play piano just
Nice.
a little, like enough to like fool. Like I could never like sit and play like a song of somebody else's, but I can like.
Oh, dude, don't
just
cut yourself
fool
short.
Around, right? Like I can make stuff up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. on
Yeah,
a
for
piano.
sure.
So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So I don't know. That's been I guess my other than whatever I get get wrapped up with Jesse doing here. That's been my other
Nice.
creative,
It's fun, man.
creative
Yeah.
thing. So
It's interesting. I've learned a lot. Like I almost said the Jamaican thing from my beer. The reaction thing is interesting, and it's just like I'm coming up on 300 videos now, and it's like I forgot. Or actually, I didn't know that I could be so. How do I say this? Like, my appreciation for music has changed, and what I listen for has changed. It's like I'm listening for composition now, and I'm listening for like is there drama? Is there a build to a climax?
Okay.
Is there is there a separation from the first verse to the second verse? Is there not? And is that on purpose, or is it poor writing? Like it's so different now, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, but it's interesting from like the process and like what I. Even like in this podcast, like the things that I appreciate about the podcast have changed. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I guess to loop it back, I'm constantly looking for something to challenge myself.
Yeah.
Which is where.
Well, I mean, it all comes back to progression, right?
Bringing Dave into it. And,
Yeah.
That stuff.
You can't progress if you're not being challenged, I don't think. If you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, exactly.
It's great. That's fine. For some people, that's totally fine.
But you
And-
get bored eventually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you really want to progress and move forward, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Challenges.
Absolutely. Hey, on that note, we are going to have to call this for the night, but we will plan a round 2.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks for
man.
coming, my friend Ty Holt, everyone.
Oh, thanks, guys. Congrats
Big
to
round.
you guys.
See us
8,000.
clap now,
That's
but
right.
you can hear it.
That's okay. I think that camera's still going. So,
Is it? Oh, okay.
but anyways, yeah. Thanks for hanging out,
Thanks,
man. Come
guys.
again, please.
Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Right on.
Thank you.